What's happening, everybody? Appreciate you guys checking in. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to everybody, man. I appreciate everybody popping in. I'm going to let everybody kind of roll through a little bit, but decided to jump on here on a Saturday and just chop it up. Actually, I'll be real with you guys. Being able to kind of jump on outside of going live in the Raider War Room with my guys, Chris and Severe, man, it's hit or miss whether or not I can really jump on and chop it up with everybody. I got my kids, my wife, all that stuff, man. Life is crazy. But what was cool is that my kids had a birthday party to go to. They're doing that. There's a little bit, I think they're doing some pottery thing, and that's just not my style. So I told the wife, hey, you go do that. Usually I like to go and chop it up with the parents, have a good time. But I said, you do that, and shit, I got the house, so I'm like, you know what, let's jump on it live. Let's chop it up with the Raider fan base and have a good time. And so I want to talk about a bunch of things. We're going to talk about basically Geno Smith. Is it time for Geno Smith to either get benched or how short is his leash? We're going to chop it up about that. We're going to talk about really the offensive strategy because Michael Mayer, he's listed as basically out. I know that he was kind of probable. I think he was practicing with the red jersey on throughout the entire week, so the likelihood that we'll see him is probably slim to none. Brock Bowers is battling an injury, I think, because he didn't participate. Or basically, I think he was limited earlier in the week, and then he basically didn't participate yesterday. Obviously, today is mainly just walkthroughs. Is he going to start, or is he going to even get some playing time? I don't think so. That would be tough unless there's some reports that have come out just recently, whether or not he's actually going to play and suit up. And even if he does suit up, should he even play? So we'll kind of talk about that. We'll talk about Stone Forsythe stepping in for Colton Miller. That's going to be a tough one. Stepping in for Colton Miller, just how well Colton Miller has played up until this point, and we all know what Stone Forsythe is. If you missed it, we broke down his game film when we brought him on, and we're going to talk about that. But we are just going to talk about the overall strategy, the offensive strategy, kind of going into this game. And at the very end, we'll kind of break down this matchup against the Indianapolis Colts tomorrow, and whether or not is this without question a must-win game for Pete Carroll. So we're going to chop this thing up, have a good time. I'm basically having my first drink of the weekend with y'all, man. I appreciate you. A little bit of Jack and Coke action. If it isn't straight Scotch, Jack and Coke is kind of my go-to. I'll have a little bit of fun. If I get through this one and we still rocking and we still chopping it up, man, y'all know I got my fridge underneath me that maybe I'll tap into some beers and have a little bit of fun with you guys. So I definitely appreciate you guys rocking with me on this Saturday. Again, just want to jump on here. Had an opportunity outside the Raider War Room and want to do a little bit of a live. I wanted to make a video. I dropped one this morning breaking down Geno Smith and just kind of what I want to see out of Geno, and is it time to kind of move on and see what else we can work with in this quarterback room. I dropped that this morning, talked about that, but I also want to drop a video about Stone Forsythe and what I expect out of him. But instead, I was like, you know what? Let's jump on and do a live and have a little bit of fun. So I appreciate everybody rocking with me. I'm going to say what's up to the chat. Emily, what's going on? Always rocking with me. Appreciate you. If Bowers is only 90% healthy, then sit him. He's way too valuable to risk, and Mayer can fill in that need. Have a good show, but I have no confidence in the Raiders' chance of victory tomorrow. It's going to be it's a long shot, especially with all the injuries kind of mounting. Even if we were fully healthy, we haven't proven really to the fan base, really to anybody, that we're going to go in and beat a Indianapolis Colts team that, even though they lost against the Rams, they're still kind of riding a really good start to the season. So, because even with that loss, it was a battle against the Rams. What up, Chewy? What's going on? Brock playing is a weird situation. So I haven't been able to check in this morning. I heard that he was ruled out. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think up to this point, a lot has just been he hasn't participated or has been limited this entire week. And so correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Let me know. Last I heard, he was out, but chat, let me know. But Chewy, man, I appreciate you rocking with me. What up, Billy Davis? What's happening, man? Yeah, Emily, yeah. Miller, I believe he's ruled officially out. I believe. And so I actually had the latest injury report up on my phone. Let me check it real quick just so I'm completely up to date. We might see another one later today. And so I'm seeing Let's see real quick. I'm just checking it. You got Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer up top. Let's see. So as of right now, it looked like they're still questionable, but we'll see. And we'll talk about whether or not they should play. What up, Jason? What's happening, man? Wantanope, what's going on? I see you out on Twitter, man. Appreciate you. I'm glad the comments are coming up on Twitter. If for some reason the comments don't funnel over, jump over to YouTube, Real Talk Raider Nation, if you guys can. Definitely appreciate everybody popping in. People are starting to flow in. Appreciate it. Emily, here's the strategy. Don't let Gino have the ball. I mean, look, if you could limit the amount of times Gino has to pass the ball, I mean, if we have to pass the ball 40, 45 times, it's really not a good scenario based on the fact that we had some success, or we had some good success in the running game. So don't disagree. What up, Mark? What's going on? Appreciate you. What up, Bueno? What's happening? ASAP in the building. What's going on? Been here from the jump, just waiting for the chat to load up. Hey, they're starting to roll in. So I appreciate y'all. Let's see. Yeah, hey, I got a bet on that Bama. I got a bet on that Vanderbilt Bama game. Let me know what the score is. I had the under. I got it at 54.5, I believe, and I put the under in. So, man, hopefully it wins. Let me know what that score is if you can. What up, LS? Man, hey, salute to LS. Also, salute to Kevin Lurker, man. I see you in here. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys. LS, you were the first member of the channel. I just dropped some channel memberships. Kevin Lurker, I saw you hit me up earlier, but LS, you were the first one. Kevin Lurker, you're the second one, man. I appreciate you guys. I did start some channel memberships. Really the main reason why we did it, and I'm just being real with y'all. Sacktown, man. What's up, man? I appreciate you. And I see it. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit of college football, man. I'm starting to pay attention now that we're about 6 weeks into the college game. But here's the thing: is YouTube is not liking us breaking down game film. They're basically demonetizing the videos. I thought I was tricking them with kind of zooming in on some of the game film, and it tend to work. It looked like that's why we keep going in the vertical mode outside the landscape mode, and so it was working for a while. But it looks like they're kind of catching up, at the end of the day. And so we might have to move to we might still rock it. Look, it's not a copyright strike. It's just they just demonetize the video. So we basically can't make any money off of it. And again, I'm not here to make money off of this thing. I do it because I enjoy it. I do it to chop it up with you guys, and it gets out just my itch of when I coached. I actually just got hit up by a buddy last week, and the high school that I played for, one of the kids that I coached him from 6 years old all the way up to 13. And that's kind of when I moved on to the high school level, started coaching. He is actually now the head coach of the varsity of the high school that I played for. And so I try to go back as much as I can and not only support the kids that I coached and go back and chop it up with the people that I coached with, the parents that I coached their kids. But now that he's the head coach of the varsity, the school that I played for, I want to go back and support him because I coached him all the way through his youth years and all the way through high school. And it's just my way of going back and kind of just showing my support. And so a buddy of mine hit me up, and we're going to go back next Friday, to kind of go catch their last home game. And so, again, I don't do this for the money. I do it because, trust me, if you're trying to do it for the money the way that we do it, you ain't making much, at all. But they just basically demonetized the video, so we can't make any money off of it. Point blank, period. And so, again, I think I'm still going to rock it, still do it, and I could care less about the money. So, but we started the memberships kind of just in case we had to do it that way, in order just to kind of, show our appreciation to everybody, but we also do a sub-only chat to show our appreciation. But it was one way that we may have to kind of pull it. So we'll keep you guys updated. We'll keep you guys posted on just what the games YouTubes are kind of playing on our game film breakdown. And so I appreciate it. Everybody rocking in. Again, we're going to talk about Colts. We're going to talk about Geno. We're talk about, our tight ends being out, as well as Stone Forsythe. So I appreciate you tapping in with me on this Saturday. You could be everywhere else, but luckily enough, I get to be home while the wife takes my kids to a birthday party. So I appreciate y'all. Jason, you're saying honestly, 8 of 5, seeing Genty and Mostert at 1-2 is going to make a difference. It's 5 games too late. I will be dead honest with you. They look good. Genty looked good. Mostert looked good. But here's the thing. When they look bad, who do we blame? We blame the offensive line. And then when they look good, we give them all the credit. You got to give that offensive line credit. The offensive line did a hell of a job of Genty basically going untouched to the second level. I want to say damn near half of his carries. All right, there were some bad plays, don't get me wrong, but you got to give credit to that offensive line, but you also have to pay attention. And we're gonna get into just kind of what the offensive strategy is going to be with the tight ends being out. But I think one of the reasons why our running game was really struggling the first 3 weeks was because our tight ends do not block very well. That's only one aspect. There's a couple more, but the tight ends don't block very well. Ian Thomas has been struggling. We pointed out on the game film when we break it down on Wednesdays. Brock Bowers does not block well. Even Michael Mayer, he's been struggling as well to kind of get to his blocks and maintain those blocks. And so, got to give credit. Last week, man, the offensive line did extremely well. And look, Genty did what he's supposed to do. He made that first man miss. That long run, he was untouched damn near. I think someone brushed a hand on him at the line of scrimmage, but he's basically untouched until about 19 yards downfield, and he was able to break that one last tackle to spring him the rest of the way. And that's what you want to see out of Genty. Make that first man miss. That's the difference between a stop at the line of scrimmage and him ripping off, a 5-10 plus yarder. So I'll give Genty, even Mostert, man, their credit, but you definitely got to give credit to that offensive line. So Kevin Lurkin, man, other teams are winning, not us, man. It's a struggle. It's one of those things where it's like, why can't it be us? You know what I'm saying? Like, even with all these early round draft picks, right? Yes, you got to give them time. Yes, you might want to show a little bit of a patience, right? But why can't it be us? Like last year, Brock Bowers popped off. JPJ had a good season. DJ Glaze showed real well last year. Why can't it be us being the ones that have the first round, second rounds just flash and just show some promise going into their early part of the career? So it is what it is. It is what it is. ASAP, yeah, man. Leo, he's out there. They're doing a massive Raider party in Rosarito, man. Shout out to him, man. Hopefully their event goes right. So, all right, just want to say what's up to everybody else in here. Yeah, Emily, they're trying to get us. But I appreciate everybody rocking. I see it. Colts putting belt to ass. Let's go. I mean, hey, look, we're going to talk about it, but also at the same time, the question is this a must-win game for Pete Carroll in this Raider team? We're going to talk about it for just a second. What up, Yaya? What's going on? I appreciate everybody rocking. All right, cool. Appreciate you guys again on this Saturday. Can't jump on often outside of my Sundays and Wednesdays in the Raider War Room, but when I can, I want to chop it up with you guys. So let's do this. Let's get to the first topic, guys. Let me know. I'm going to bring this one down. Let's talk about Geno. Let's talk about Pickett, and obviously Aiden O'Connell. He's kind of set to come off of that IR, right? He was basically on that short-term IR, basically 4 weeks, and after that 4 weeks, now he basically has up to 3 weeks to kind of get back to full strength, up to that 53-man roster. And so here's the thing. Chat, let me know, and I'll bring it up. What are your thoughts? Is it time to bench Geno Smith? And I posted a video on this morning, and based on my comment section, it looks like it's very divided. Shocking. The Raider Nation is divided, right? But what are you guys' thoughts? Should we roll with Geno? Is it time to bench him? How short is Geno's leash? And so let me know in the chat. I'll definitely bring it up. But here's my thing. I don't think it's time to bench Geno. I don't. Horrible showing. Back-to-back games of multiple interceptions, coming off of a 3-interception game against the Bears. It's not good. Don't get me wrong. But if you did see my video, I kind of went deeper into just kind of my thoughts of why I want to see Geno continue to be the quarterback. It's not because I think he's going to turn things around. It's not because I think that Geno is going to be the answer moving forward. But here's the thing, is we knew we had a quarterback issue going into this season, right? We had to address the quarterback situation. Was it going to be in free agency? Was it going to be in the draft? And what did we do? We traded a third-round draft pick for Geno Smith. We're paying him close to $40 million a year for the next 3 years. I believe he has a fourth-year option, but I think think it's just 3 years. I think that Geno Smith is going to be the quarterback this year, and he's most likely going to be the quarterback going into next year. So, here's my thing is I want to be able to trust the process. We have not been able to trust the process for years, right? Offense is one of the hardest things to kind of get going and build that chemistry. It's going to take, I always say, when you have a brand new offensive coordinator, brand new quarterback, and brand new weapons to kind of build that chemistry, outside of any injuries, right? Injuries are going to plague you without question. If you are an injury-riddled team, then you're going to struggle anyways. But you can't blame the struggles on Geno, right? He's late on the throws. It's not like their passes that are going through the hands of receivers and dropping just into the laps of the defenders. That's not necessarily the case. It's just bad decisions by Geno. He's late on throws, bad decisions. Not good. But offense is going to take time. I give it roughly around 6 weeks to really kind of get up and going. And at that 6-week mark, you want to just see this offense start to show the signs of running on full cylinder, right? But I want to trust the process. We haven't been able to trust the process for really as long as I can remember, maybe from the Gruden days. But in every time we finally got a chance to potentially trust the process, like when Gruden took us to the AFC Championship, obviously we lose, we blow things up. We trade away John Gruden, and then we go to the playoffs in 2016. We blow things up with Jack Del Rio. We go to the playoffs with Rich Bisaccia. What do? We blow things up. Like, we have never been able to truly trust the process for as long as I can remember. And I want to be able to trust the process. I want to be able to say, look, even though we struggled in the beginning, Pete Carroll, JohnSpytek, you made the right decision on choosing Geno Smith. Now, Geno Smith, in my opinion, he's a guy that can keep you competitive. He's a guy that when you go into the game, he may not hurt you. Now, mind you, that hasn't been the case over the last couple of weeks. I agree. But this was my mindset when we got Geno, was I felt he could keep us competitive. I felt that he could potentially give us a shot at possibly sniffing the playoffs. Now, big question marks. Can he move us deeper in the playoffs? Can he win a Super Bowl? Massive question marks around that. But can he keep us competitive? I thought so. So here's the thing. I want Pete Carroll and JohnSpytek to completely prove us wrong. Everybody that's questioning Geno, everybody that doesn't think Geno can be the guy, prove us wrong, because you wasted a 3rd-round draft pick if we are right that Geno's not the guy. You wasted a ton of money because he's going to be the most expensive backup you've ever seen in the NFL if we end up benching him. And when you bench him, the hard part is that you're going with a guy like Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett hasn't proved anything in the National Football League. Yeah, can he show a spark? For a game, maybe too, because it's just the change. And if Geno is really struggling, then the defense gets a little bit of a spark because it's kind of a renewed confidence. Maybe. You see that all the time. There might be a little bit of a spark, but that spark is just what it is. It's short-lived and it's lasted. So, Geno Smith, at the very minimum, in my opinion, has to be put on notice. You got to show that your lack of performance, there's potential consequences to it. But I also want this coaching staff, this front office, to prove us wrong. I want them to be right so that all of us Raider Nation can sit back and go, damn, let's trust the process. That's what we want at the end of the day. So I want to see Geno Smith continue to be the starter because I want Pete Carroll and this coaching staff and this front office to prove us wrong. So with that being said, at the same time, we are not in a normal situation with a brand new head coach. Pete Carroll's time is limited here. He brought Geno Smith because he had full confidence that he could get us to wherever Pete Carroll wanted us to go, and ultimately it should be a Super Bowl. And so Pete Carroll's got basically 3 years. I know there's a 4th-year option, but he's got 3 years to make this shit happen. And if you didn't draft a quarterback early that could be the next guy up in this year's draft, and you end up benching Geno Smith, you just hit the reset button. That's basically what you did. You hit the reset button, and now we're basically possibly drafting a quarterback next year and starting him right out the box, which I'm not a fan of. Or you just continue to rock with Geno Smith. I mean, I want to be wrong. I want this coaching staff and Pete Carroll and this front office to be right. I want them to be right. And so I say rock with him. But if he continues to have multi turnover games and we get into that bye week, man, just for the sake of our defense, the special teams, and everybody else around us, and these other offensive players, maybe it is time to bench Geno Smith. Because then you're going to lose the faith. You're going to lose the confidence of everybody in that locker room. So again, I want them to be right, but I'm going to give Geno Smith at least to the bye week to figure this shit out. So that's kind of my take on it. Guys, I kind of want to just ramble on for a second. But Chewy, you're saying I don't see Pete benching Geno? Probably not, man, because Pete is he's defending Geno. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to bat for Geno, which, look, that was his guy. You traded a third round. You gave him a decent contract. That's his guy. He's gonna go to bat for him. That's why, man, I wouldn't be opposed, or I wouldn't be surprised if even Geno is struggling, that Pete continues to rock with him. I'm just saying. And so Emily's saying I'd go with O'Connell, but not with this O line. Hey, it's going to be a battle without question. Jason, you're saying if we lose this one, I would legit start Pickett for Tennessee and KC. To see how he does. If now we go back to Geno, man, if you go back to Geno, it's not the worst thing in the world, but at the same time, it's like, and look, Geno's at kind of the tail end of his career. This could be the last stop for Geno, especially if he continues the way he is. There's no. He has no trade value if you bench him. No one's going to want to go pick up that contract that we gave him. So, and look, we have nobody in this backup quarterback room between Aiden O'Connell and Pickett that you start them and now you have to go with them, right? It's not like they're rookies that one day will eventually be the starter. So could you play musical chairs with the quarterback position? Yeah, you can, but guess what that tells me? That I'm not going into any game with confidence moving forward. And if anybody wants to kind of bash this Raider fan base to be like, look, let's play for a draft pick, this coaching staff is doing it. This coaching staff is doing it. If you continue to go with Geno and he's the reason for multiple turnovers, you're playing for a draft pick. If you play musical chairs with the quarterback position, you're going for a draft pick. And you're going to piss off some of these veterans that are good. And we have a shit ton of 1-year contract guys that will make a decision at the end of this year. If you have a guy like Landon Roberts that continues to play fairly well going into the offseason, and now he has a decision. He's on a 1-year contract. He has a decision. Does he want to stay here and continue to rock with this organization, or does he move on because we're a joke? We have a bunch of 1-year contracts that we need to address at the end of this season. And if this goes to shit, good luck. Good luck, because now we got to build a chemistry with an entire brand new roster, which you don't want to do with a brand new head coach. You have to build chemistry. You have to build a winning culture. You can't continue to build a winning culture when you continue to have a revolving door on this roster. So it's tough. It's tough, man. What up, LS, man? I appreciate you. And also, LS, I appreciate you being a member of the channel, man. Bench Geno. Guaranteed top 3 pick in the draft, man. It's so hard. It's so hard if that's what mock drafts are going to start early if this goes, if this continues to go sour, man. But I appreciate you. Appreciate the super chat, brother. What up, Jeff? What's happening, man? Appreciate you tapping in with me. And so let me see. Mike Downs in the building. If we go 1-4, what's the purpose of keep playing with him? Put Kenny Pickett in, bring Cam Miller. Again, I rambled on for a second, but my only thing is I want it's even though it's 5 games in, like what happens if Geno does? What if we go on like a 5-game winning streak, a 6-game winning streak to end the season? What if we go like 4-1, 5-1 to kind of end the season, right? There's going to be kind of a spark with this fan base. There's at least something we can kind of hang our hat on going in the offseason. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what I'm saying is I want a reason to trust this coaching staff. I want them to prove to us that we can trust the process. That's the only reason why I want Geno in. Not because I think he can do it, not because I think he can turn this thing around, but damn it, this fan base needs a reason to trust the process, and I just don't think Kenny Pickett's the answer at all. And if Kenny Pickett, and here's the other thing, is I don't know what Kenny Pickett is showing in practice. I'm not hearing any reports that Kenny Pickett is, flashing in practice, making good throws, making good decisions. There is a little bit of a battle based on how bad Geno Smith has been. You would think if Kenny Pickett was at least doing fairly well, then maybe some of the reporters might be asking about Kenny Pickett, or they might be saying, hey, Kenny Pickett looks fairly good in practice. Is there consideration for him? But we're not seeing it. We're not hearing it, nothing. And so I don't know what Kenny Pickett is looking like in practice. So if we make that switch and Kenny Pickett looks like shit in practice or doesn't look well, or doesn't look good, what message is that saying to the defense? Year over year, I'm mainly a defensive guy. I played defense for the majority of my playing career. I played for 15 years, right? I know that if you don't have confidence in that offense, you're going to step on that football field, and there's just going to be that pressure that you have to force a 3-and-out. You have to be at the top of your game, and if you give up one big play that just switches up that field position, it puts a lot of pressure on that defense, and it puts a lot of pressure on minimizing the rotations that you can put in the game. So guys, the majority of your starting 11 are going to be little in that field, 85% of the game. And so I just don't know how well Kenny Pickett is doing in practice, and what would that say to the rest of the team and the defense that if you go with a guy that's not looking very good in practice. So until I start hearing that Kenny Pickett is doing well or flashing, or some of the reporters are starting to ask that question, is Kenny Pickett doing good, or is there consideration of putting Kenny Pickett in? That would tell me that Kenny Pickett's doing some good things. Then maybe I'd start to really think or go that route. But we all know what Kenny Pickett is. He's not a very good quarterback, and he didn't last with the 20 million quarterbacks that were with the Browns. He was either going to get cut or traded, and we ultimately had to take the bait because Aiden O'Connell got injured. So, ASAP, he can't throw and offer up picks to the ops. Yes, he can. It's not. He's not making good decisions. LS, Pete's too stubborn to even play JPJ at center. There's almost zero chance he's benching his man Geno. It would take a 5 interception game to even consider it. Maybe, man. Maybe, or just back to back, multiple interception games. Then he's basically kind of, I want to say forced into it, right? Or pressured into it. Mike Downs, I trust the process. It's just that Geno Smith is not the quarterback. I hope so, but man, they went after him. They wanted him. Geno or bust. We're 2 weeks from the latter. It's crazy, man. It's crazy for sure. What up, Drone? What's going on, man? Appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate everybody tapping in with me. Got 77 in the building, man. I appreciate it. What up, Drake? Also, guys, again, I'm just jumping on a quick live. Maybe not quick, man. I got some Jack and Coke. My first drink over the weekend with you guys. I got a couple beers down below if I want to tap into that as well. My wife had to take the kids to a birthday party that was going on, a little pottery class thing, not my style. So I was like, hey, you take them, and I'm going to jump on with the nation. Have a little bit of fun on Saturday. So I appreciate you guys. Hit that like button. If you guys subscribe, I do a sub-only chat just to show my appreciation to all my subscribers. I did start channel memberships, mainly because, again, YouTube is kind of cracking down on us doing some game films. So we're going to continue to do it, but we might have to do it a little bit differently depending on how it kind of plays out. But I just want to jump on here, but also I'm doing a giveaway of 5,500 subscribers. It'll be my 11th giveaway since starting this channel in 2023. And so it's just my way. Anything I make on here, I basically give back to you guys. So when that giveaway goes down, if you are subscribed to the channel, then you're automatically basically entered into that giveaway. It's just my way of showing my appreciation. But it'll be my 11th giveaway since starting the channel. But I also hit you guys with some surprise giveaways as well, man. Last year, I did one, man. The season was going so poorly that I was like, let's have a little bit of good news, and I just kind of dropped a giveaway randomly. And so, again, just my way of showing my appreciation, kind of giving back to you guys because you guys helped me kind of get over just kind of my itch of wanting to coach again. So I appreciate y'all. J Bob, yes, much respect for everybody that continues to watch this franchise, and respect everybody that continues to rock with me, man. I definitely appreciate it. Let's see. What up, Isaiah? What's going on? Man, let's see. Let's hopefully NFS kids get some candy at the birthday party. I'm telling you, man. And if you guys don't know, I'll kind of share a quick story, and then we're going to kind of get to the next topic. I got 3 kids. I've raised them as Raider fans, and it's been hard. My oldest is 20. She turns 20 actually this month. My youngest is 9. And one of the ways that I had to actually kind of manipulate my kids into being Raider fans is every time the Raiders score a touchdown, I got a big thing of candy that they can pick a piece of candy. And it's good candy. I'm not going to lie. But they get a piece of candy, and every time they win, we go out for ice cream. So that's kind of been my way to kind of manipulate them into being Raider fans. So shout out to my kids. It does feel like kind of child abuse at this point, but it is what it is. My kids still rock. They still get their Raider shirts at week 1 of every single game, and they still rock it. My kids still wear their Raider shirts to bed. So I got to love it. And I grew up around a bunch of 49er fans. My parents, my extended family, they're all 49er fans. My wife's family, all my in-laws, they're all Charger fans. So we're surrounded by a bunch of other fan bases. So shout out to my kids, man. I love them. They stick with me. I want a beer. But not that Modelo piss that the NFL's been pimping. Hey, I think that it's definitely a Raider thing, without question. And so, all right. So let's do this. We kind of chopped up about Geno. And look, at the end of the day, I do think Geno, he's got to be put on notice. And I think there's got to be a short leash, man. If we see multiple turnover games again, definitely got to be a short leash on Geno. So let's kind of get to the next one. At the very end of this, we're going to talk about the Colts Raiders matchup. We're going to kind of break this thing down. But here's the next one. Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, out. We're going to talk about that. Stone Forsythe. He's starting in replace of of Colton Miller. And then what's the offensive strategy? You got 2 of our top tight ends out. We've elevated some practice squad tight ends. And here's the thing. We've used a lot of our tight ends in the blocking game. And that's why there's times where our tight ends are the reason why our blocking scheme just doesn't work out very well, because they just haven't shown a lot of effectiveness in the blocking game, in the run blocking game, as relates to the tight end. So here's my thing, guys. Here's the first question. How do you think we're going to use the tight ends? Who do you think is going to be our number 1 target kind of going in to this game now that Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer are out? Let me know, and I'll definitely try to bring it up. LS, man, They love me, and you're 100% right, because we are cavity clean in this house because my girls don't get very many pieces of candy. And we also got a rule in this house. They don't get any dessert until the weekend. And so no dessert on the weekdays. The weekend they can get dessert. So they get dessert, but yeah, not a whole lot of candy in this house. I'll be dead honest with you. I actually had to throw some candy away because it got old, and I actually had to throw a shit ton out because I bought way too much. I was that excited fan to start the season. So let's see. All right, here we go. Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer out, man. How do we attack this game with really our number 1 target out, right? That means Trey Tucker's got to step up. Deontay Thornton, we got to definitely see him flash without question. A lot of people are talking about Jack Besh, and we're talking about the passing game, but here's the thing, is we got to see a repeat of the running game. And we'll talk about Stone Forsythe in just a second. But here's my thing is Jack Besh. How many of y'all want to see Jack Besh just kind of have kind of his, I don't want to say breakout game. I'd love to see a breakout game. But when we see Jack Besh, there was multiple times last week where we saw Jack Besh more on the blocking side of things and not necessarily in the passing game. We motion him into the backfield, and he's actually more involved in just in blocking, run blocking. And so Isaiah, yeah, got to see more Besh, got to see more. You got Darian Porter on the opposite side, or defense side. We'll definitely talk about it. Jeff, you're saying I want to see a different second-round pick instead. Could we go back in the future and make some changes? 100%, man. I'm with you. If anybody wants to ask, how do we change this thing? How do we improve it? Yeah, maybe we go take a little a time machine trip, go back into prior to the free agency, and we'll change things up. But here's my thing: is don't be surprised if we see more Jack Bech lined up in tight, closer to the line of scrimmage, closer to the offensive line. Because when you have Michael Mayer and you have Brock Bowers out, they elevated some practice squad tight ends. We've seen Jack Bech motion to kind of the interior of the offensive line and be used more in that the run blocking side. Are they going to use Jack Bech more inside to kind of help run, emulate what the tight ends are supposed to do? You know, are we going to rely on some of these practice squad tight ends to play the same role as a Brock Bowers, as a Michael Mayer? Obviously, we still have Ian Thomas, and we used Ian Thomas a lot, so he's going to step in. But do we still see that 12 personnel? You know, in my opinion, I think there's a really good chance that Jack Bech might be asked to do more blocking in the run game on the interior than he was expected to see. Because he was touted as one of the more physical receivers coming out of college, right? I haven't seen much of it at all, and it remains to be seen. You could be as physical as you want to be at college. The difference between physicality in the college and the NFL is night and day. And so don't just think because you're physical in college automatically translates you to being physical in the NFL. It's not going to happen. You got to prove it first. We haven't seen it yet. But because he was touted as being very physical, I wouldn't be surprised if they use him more in the box and use him almost like a Brock Bowers in the run game type, where he's more of that kind of offset H-back, where he's basically responsible for being one of the blockers kind of in tight in the box. I can see them using him that way. Because, again, you got a bunch of practice squad tight ends. And so with Michael Mayer out, do you bring in somebody like Ian Thomas that can be used in the pass game? That's not his strength, but is he used more like a Michael Mayer? But who really replaces Brock Bowers? I don't know. Does that mean we're going to see more spread sets? Are we going to see more 3x1s where it's not a close set on the opposite side? What I mean by that is you have trips to one side, and if you have a close set on the opposite side, that means you have a tight end. It's a closed set. The tight end has his hand in his dirt on the line of scrimmage. Or is it an open 3x1 where now you have a receiver on the backside on an island one-on-one locked up at the corner, right? We might see more open sets where it's trips to one side and a receiver is split out to the other side on the backside on an island. We might see more of that, to be dead honest. And we might see more of that given the fact that Stone Forsythe is starting, and you don't want to stack the box and crowd the box with Stone Forsythe. So we're going to talk about that in a second as well. Let me kind of get to the chat, see what everybody is saying a little bit. Kevin Lurker, you're saying see what Runyon can do? Yeah, here's the thing. Runyon, he flashed in that, I believe it was the third preseason game. So can we bring him in and use him kind of more like that Brock Bowers, right? He could be more that pass-catching tight end. So we might see him. I don't disagree. It's really trying to understand just how much is he going to be able to play that role and how much do you want to utilize him, knowing that he's going to be a focal point of this offense if he's running those same routes Brock Bowers would. So that's definitely going to be a tough one to kind of figure out. Jeff, damn you were my yeah. Hey, in this day and age, it's like, here's the thing is, man, dental visits, man, are could put you in goddamn bankruptcy nowadays. And so it's like, look, I'm forced to not give my kids anything during the week. I'm sorry. It just can't happen. It's crazy. So yeah, dental appointments can put you in bankruptcy, man. It's wild. And so I think LS, man, I think we'll see a lot of short passes to Genty. We can't force those to Jacoby. Defense is already sitting on his routes, man. They were baiting the shit out of Geno last week. I'm 100% with you. And you guys know, and LS, I know you rock with us, and the rest of you guys rock with us. I've been saying since we drafted Genty, since that first preseason game, you got to get Genty in the passing game. You got to get him involved. Got to get him in screens. Got to get him one-on-ones, in the passing game where there's just dump-off passes to where he's one-on-one with a linebacker. And we saw it last week. And even but just doing it once or twice, now defenses have to account for it. Now you can throw him out in the passing game, and now defenders might be more attached to his hip, which is going to open up other opportunities for the receivers, right? And so in the past, because you never showed it, you could half-ass your way to guarding Genty because we just didn't show it in the past. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I'd love to see more Genty passes to Genty, but you're right. It might be more quick passes, mainly because, man, Stone Forsythe ain't blocking. Geno Smith, you better get that ball out quick. And we'll talk about Stone Forsythe in just a second. But LS, man, I definitely agree, without question. What up, Elvie? What's going on, man? What up, Nate? I think that would be the smartest option. Utilize Besh as a pseudo tight end. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it. Again, it's just trying to think about just the strategies that you can utilize as an offensive coordinator now that you don't have two of your starters, Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer, man. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Let's see. Nate, you got another one. I would love to see Besh do the underneath cross the middle type routes that tight ends would run. Yeah, any way to kind of get him involved, right? ASAP. Thornton needs to get some touches. Yeah, I want to see him be utilized more than just go deep. But we've shown it multiple times in our game film breakdowns is that he's not that full route tree guy. And it was one of the things that I had question marks. The hard part about the college game film is that not everybody has access to the all 22 when it comes to the college game film. I tried to look as much as I could. I couldn't find a whole lot unless you paid a shit ton of money to get access to it. And so that was one question mark, especially being a Tennessee receiver. Tennessee is one of the most horrible offensive systems for a receiver. And so you see that at Jalen Hyatt. I love Jalen Hyatt coming out of Tennessee, but man, you just kind of see he's kind of a one-trick pony, unfortunately. But the one thing about about Jonte Thornton, when you watch the game film, is that he's slow off the line of scrimmage. He doesn't have a good get off on the line of scrimmage, even when he's pressed, even when there's a cornerback in his face. He doesn't get off the line of scrimmage very well. He doesn't run good routes at all. He doesn't set up the defender, corner, safety, whoever's on him. He doesn't set them up to flip their hips and time his breaks at the right time, I guess I would say. And so he's just not a good route runner, unfortunately. We showed it that very first preseason game. It was a 3rd and 14, I believe, and we converted on 3rd and 14, but it was one of the most sloppy 3rd and 14 routes. It was basically a deep comeback. And I was sitting there going, yeah, he basically forced his way open. It was basically a push off at the top of his route, and then he kind of drifted his way to the sideline. It was a completed catch for a first down, but that's against a backup corner. It was against Seattle that was playing all backups. A starting corner is going to defend that all day, every day. And we're starting to see it. He's just not getting open. He's not manipulating the defender, the corner, at the top of the route to allow himself to get separation and get open. So, and we see it on the game film all the time. It's definitely something that he's got to improve on. And so, Emily, appreciate it. Appreciate you tapping in with me. Appreciate everybody rocking. If you guys can't hit that like button, subscribe. Turn the notifications. If y'all don't know, I know you clicked on it, but I'm 805 Raider. Channel's Real Talk Raider Nation. And I go live on Sundays and on Wednesdays in the Raider War Room with my guys Severe and Chris. And Chris is on vacation, man. Shout out to you. Enjoy that vacation. What up, ASAP? Screen passes. Yep. Raider Nation Jason. Even double back sets. 2 and 31 can beat linebackers in coverage. I would be curious if we saw that, only because I don't see us implementing something that different, right? We haven't seen 2 back sets as of yet. The only time we've seen a somewhat of a fullback, you had Michael Mayer basically come in, or Ian Thomas come in as a fullback. I don't know if you kind of flip the script on the offensive playbook to put two running backs in that backfield. So again, we could see it, but knowing just how difficult it is, if that's something you haven't installed, if it's something that you really haven't had in the playbook to kind of install that all of a sudden might get a little tricky. But you never know. Maybe we haven't seen it too much because Mostert really hasn't been with us too much. So I don't see it happening because we haven't seen it yet. It'd be very difficult to install if that's never really been the game plan. So, but we'll see. Definitely two threats, additional threats on the football field. Definitely. Why don't we use more mesh concepts? It might be more. Here's the thing. One thing about Chip Kelly is I'm wondering if he's trying too much to use what he knew to be successful in college. This is one thing I said, I think it was a couple weeks ago, is that what I'm seeing at a Chip Kelly is a lot of maybe what he used in Ohio State. I mean, he's been out of the league for almost 10 years. And so his mind has been ingrained for almost 10 years to know what he saw successful at the college level. Now, he was successful in the NFL. He ran good offenses in the NFL back when he was with the Eagles and even with the 49ers, right? He kind of tailed off towards the tail end of that 49er season, but he still had some success on the offensive side with that 49er team. Some success, but he had a good offense with the Eagles without question. When he was with Ohio State, the thing is that with the college game, you like to run a lot of verticals with the college game because the hash marks are so spread out. You don't run a lot of mesh concepts a lot in college if you have a lot of good receivers that can stretch the field, because when you're on the right hash, the distance from the right hash to the other side of the field, there's a lot of distance. So there's a lot of area to kind of hit the seam routes, right? There's a lot of spacing between the linebacker, safeties, and corners. And so when you have good receivers that can stretch the field, that's where you can hit a lot of the seam routes, the vertical routes. But you also can't run a lot of mesh concept because you have receivers that line up so far on one side of the field, you don't have the timing to kind of get them across the field. And so I just think that because Chip Kelly's used to running a college offensive scheme, maybe he's kind of hanging on to that a little bit, not adjusting well to the hash marks, where in NFL, because the hash marks are so close together, you can run a ton of mesh routes. What I'd love to see more of, which I only saw a little bit against the Patriots, we saw a little bit in preseason, is more pick routes, more rub routes. Taking an inside receiver, right? Kind of bunching two receivers together, run that, put that inside receiver possibly on the line of scrimmage, that outside receiver off the line of scrimmage, and run that receiver that's on the line of scrimmage. Run that receiver into the outside receiver's defender and kind of run some of those rub routes and pick routes. I only ran an offense for 6 years out of my 23 years coaching. Right? I was mainly a defensive coordinator, but I was an offensive coordinator for about 6 years. And my thing is that that was my go-to, was pick routes and rub routes. I mean, those things kind of put a lot of defenders in conflict. Now, even if you're running a man concept, now those defenders have to think, who do I take? Is there a switch that we need to communicate prior to the snap? You put these defenders in conflict, and now they have to communicate as the snap happens, as they see the routes develop. And it's hard. It's extremely difficult if you know how to run them right. I mean, I'll tell you right now, Andy Reid is one of the best I've seen do it. And it shows because of just how well he's been able to kind of run his offenses. And again, that's just my opinion on it. We might end up seeing more of it. I don't know. But yeah, I think because Chip Kelly might be more used to stretching the field with vertical routes and exposing the spacing you see in college, especially when you're on one hash and the field side is there's a lot of room to the field side. Maybe he's just kind of in that mindset, and hopefully he switches it up. So, Jay, Nate, you're saying they had a lot of success in bunch. Are you saying that Chip had a lot of success at Ohio State in bunch? let me know, because I didn't dissect Chip Kelly's offense in Ohio State, but I do know of what I saw. They did run a lot of verticals, a lot of route concepts that stretched the field. So I could be missing something, man. Correct me if I'm wrong. ASAP, guys, Mark Saints is in trouble, man. I saw that this morning. That's wild. That truly is wild. And I heard that he got arrested for allegedly for whatever he did to, cause him to be in that altercation. I think he got stabbed. He was in the hospital, man. But hey, innocent until proven guilty. I don't know. We'll see. But looks like his days potentially could be over as a commentator. So, pray for Mark though. He started the whole Indy fight for being the bad guy. Okay, yeah, I read like the police department, the local police department sent out just a statement, and so yeah, I mean, hey, for him being in the hospital, man, 100%. Hopefully he's good. But man, if you're the instigator, pick your battles. All right, so far as the Raiders, they have had some success in bunch. Oh, but didn't run enough, especially on the goal line. Okay, so you're saying that we run some bunch. I know we've had, but here's the thing. Hard part about we didn't line up in bunch, but I want to say 80% of the time we're running the ball at a bunch. We're running the ball and bringing everybody in the box, which is really tough. So, that's the hard part. The hard part is that they're able to sit a lot in basically zone coverage, because when we run a lot out of the bunch formations, you can sit in zone, which allows you to kind of play more comfortable and play more, I guess, what's the word I want to say? Like as a corner, you can sit in your zone. You can you can play more to your responsibility on your side of the ball. Let's just say, like if I put it that way, right? So for example, if you run a bunch concept and then all of a sudden you're kind of forced to go into a man coverage on the defense, that corner is going to be very, very, he's going to pay more attention to possibly bailing or chasing a guy across the field. But when you play in zone, you can play more comfortable. I guess that's the way. Word I want to say. You can play more comfortable to your side of the field. And so because we run 80% out of bunch sets, it allows the defense to be just more comfortable in the position that they're in. And now they can sit. They can sit, and if the run comes right at them, they're in position to basically defend it. But if we force them, if we can run more crossers out of a bunch set, more mesh concepts, then we're able to keep these corners and maybe these safeties on their toes and have to think, shit, do I got to get across the field if I see some crossing routes in front of me? But because we don't, they can sit more comfortably on their side of the field to their responsibility. And now if it's a run coming at them, fuck, they just sit and wait for the run to come at them. So it's kind of unfortunate. What up, ASAP? I appreciate you. Hey, I get it. Yeah, I don't get all the views in the world, but hey, at the same time, I'm not here, necessarily for the views, man. I'm here just kind of jump on and chop it up with you guys. So I definitely appreciate it. And so, shout out for Chip Kelly getting the bag for being bang average. That's a hell of a point. To be honest, man, you're the highest paid offensive coordinator in the National Football League. You better perform like it, and we just ain't getting it. That's what's tough. So, Alfredo, how can this offensive line stop the blitzes? So that kind of gets into the Forsyth talk in this offensive line. Yes, we got to do a better job. And guys, let me know what's your thoughts on Stone Forsyth. Let me know in the chat. Okay, I'll definitely bring it up. How do we stop the blitzes? Obviously, better communication. There's got to be better communication. We've saw multiple times where, we've allowed the blitz to kind of come right through. It's a communication thing. It's also understanding where your leverage is on the offense. There's been times where, and I showed it, right? There was one blitz that came up the middle. A lot of people blamed Jordan Meredith Some people blamed Dylan Parham. And it's kind of hard to describe without showing you, to be dead honest. Some people thought Dylan Parham should have taken on the middle blitzer, especially against the Commanders game. But the thing is it's not just knowing, because Dylan Parham stepped to the double team and he should have slid down to pick up the blitzing middle linebacker. You also have to see what the positioning of the interior defensive tackle is on Colton Miller, which was all on Dylan Parham's side. That interior defensive lineman had inside leverage on Colton Miller. So if Dylan Parham releases off of that interior defensive lineman, he now has the straight line to Geno Smith. And you're going to defend the line of scrimmage over a blitzing linebacker that started 4 or 5 yards deep off the line of scrimmage. And so it wasn't necessarily him. I would blame that on Jordan Meredith. But then there's also times where it looks like it should be Jordan Meredith, but it's actually Dylan Parham or possibly a running back stepping up to take on that blitzing linebacker. So it's hard. It's hard without knowing the exact play and how that blocking scheme is supposed to, what their assignments are. But is that a coaching thing? Are we not prepared for the defensive scheme that they're throwing at us? Because I'll tell you right now, I blamed a lot on the non-blitz pickups, partially on coaching, because I went back and I watched the Commanders play a couple weeks prior to that, and I saw them take their edge rushers and basically flash drop. And what I mean by flash drop is you basically flash, you basically take 1 to 2 steps at the tackle or tight end, and then you drop in coverage. So you flash drop into coverage, but that just freezes the tackles or tight ends just enough so that you can get that blitzing linebacker. Then you can get that twist going on the inside. And if they weren't prepared for it, that means our guards didn't do a good job of adjusting well inside to help out the center to pick up that additional blitzing backer up the middle. So it's hard. It's all about communication. And unfortunately, we're just seeing a lack of communication. Now, are there bad plays? Yes, 100%. And you can clearly see it's on them. But I got to believe if it's a communication thing, then you got to put that on just the coaching aspect of things. So let's see kind of how it plays out. But when you talk about Stone Forsyth, and let's kind of see Kevin Lurker. Kevin Lurker, I heard his name is Stone Feet. We will see. We did a film breakdown on him, and I'm telling you, my expectations for Stone Forsyth is not good. I'll be real with y'all. I'll be real with you. And this isn't to say that Thayer Mumford was good. He was not. But it's more to say just how bad Stone Forsyth is. I'd rather have Thayer Mumford right now, to be dead honest. Based on what we saw last year, based off of the game film that we shown of Stone Forsyth playing last year, and the little bit that he's played this year, I believe he played a little bit in the preseason, I believe, if I remember correctly. But based on his game from last year, he's god-awful. Absolute. I mean, and I hope that Pete Carroll sees something different, because this is another example of Pete Carroll bringing in his guy. Pete Carroll brought in Geno Smith. Hasn't been very good up to this point. This is another Pete Carroll guy. He drafted Stone Forsyth. There was nobody that wanted Stone Forsyth going into shit. I don't even know if he played that last preseason game. I don't think he did, because I think we picked him up with a week and a half before the first game. So maybe I take that back. I don't think he played that last preseason game. We cut Thayer Mumford and we brought in Stone Forsyth. And so that was a strategic move. They saw the inability of Thayer Mumford to kind of be an anchor behind these offensive tackles. So they went out and got Stone Forsyth, which was probably one of the worst offensive tackles last year, one of the worst starting offensive tackles last year. And that's who you went out and got. And what worries me even more, not just on how bad Stone Forsyth is the ripple effect of what this could be for Geno Smith. Because Geno Smith watched game film last year. Geno Smith knows how bad Stone Forsythe is, and Stone Forsythe is protecting his left side, his blind side. If Geno Smith knows he's that bad, then Geno Smith's quarterback clock, I think, is going to go off very quick. Do not be surprised if Geno Smith is bailing out of that pocket a lot quicker than he should. Don't be surprised if Geno Smith is running away from his side a lot quicker than he should, or releasing the ball a lot sooner than he should. I mean, if I was a quarterback, if you guys were playing quarterback and you knew last year that Stone Forsythe was an absolute dog shit left tackle, and now he's back in the game, I wouldn't be surprised if Geno Smith shits himself. And Stone Forsythe isn't going against, just some lower end edge rushers. They got Kwity Paye over there, which is pretty good. I liked Kwity Paye coming out of college. And they got, I'm blanking on his name. I believe he came out of UCLA edge rusher. I think he came out of the draft last year, which is a pretty defensive edge rusher. Was touted as one of the better edge rushers coming out of last year's draft. So, they don't have bad edge rushers over there. There's a ripple effect by putting in Stone Forsythe. And that ripple effect could be basically a hit to the run game, which you guys have heard me say it before. You're only as good as your weakest link on the offensive line. But two, Geno Smith can be scared dropping back to pass, knowing how bad Stone Forsythe is. So, look, at the end of the day, Pete Carroll cut Thayer Munford and went out with a week and a half left before the first game and said, let's get rid of Thayer Munford and let's bring in Stone Forsythe. There's a reason why nobody wants Stone Forsythe a week and a half before the first game of the season. It's because he's not very good at all. So I'm not saying Thayer Munford's good. But holy shit, I would have taken Thayer Munford's little upside that he had based on just how bad Stone Forsythe looked last year. I hope he surprises us. I really do. But this is another opportunity. Like I said earlier in the live when we talked about Geno Smith and whether he should be benched or what have you, this is another opportunity for Pete Carroll to allow this Raider fan base to sit back and start the process of trusting the process. So we'll see. Alas, man, this team hasn't seen motion since Christian Wilkins was in the show. God damn it. Yeah, I mean, we are motioning around. We are throwing motion out there quite a bit. Don't get me wrong. We're seeing it. It's just a lot of time we see motion. It's actually in run plays, to be dead honest. So that's a little bit of a tell, unfortunately. What up, Jay? What's going on, man? Appreciate you popping in. I actually saved Stone Forsythe's film and plan to watch it on Halloween. Shit is scary. It is. Jay saying Mumford is better than Forsythe. Yeah, he is. Unfortunately, again, that just kind of shows just how bad Stone Forsythe is that we can say Thayer Munford was actually better than him. It's bad. What up, Dixon? What's going on, man? Appreciate you popping in with me again. Yeah, thanks, Nate Latu. Yeah. So, look, now here's the thing. There are things that Chip Kelly can do to kind of help Stone Forsythe, right? Bringing somebody to kind of help Chip, right? Bringing somebody off the edge of him as kind of an offset or H-back type, right? Maybe you utilize Ian Thomas to kind of help Chip and double team some of the edge rushers. I don't know if Latu or Kwity Paye, if they play kind of a wide set as their edge rushers. You know, if they do bring in an edge or an H-back, is Latu going to line up more as like a wide 9 technique to where he's outside that H-back to kind of help Forsythe a little bit? There's things that you can do. Shit, you can run away from him. Okay? You can run away from him, but at the same time, you can run at him, but with more of a zone concept, in my opinion, where you give Genty or whoever the running back is the ability to cut back. Make it easier on Stone Forsythe to be able to kind of ride his guy down the line of scrimmage. And even if he gets beat, there's a potential cutback lane for Genty. So in the run game, there's things that you can do to kind of mask or hide Stone Forsythe. There are some reasons, right? You can run opposite. You can run power away from him all day long. We got some pitch plays in last week. I want to see more pitch plays with Genty. Get him outside quick. Run pitch away from him. Or run inside zone right at him, but have the option for Genty to cut it back, right? Run those split zones where you take an Ian Thomas, a Jacoby Myers, even a Jack Besh if you want to, line them up on Stone Forsythe's side, basically have them slice, we call it a slice, but have them slice to the backside and either kick out that end or hook that in, and Genty has that cutback lane. Like, there's things you can do to disguise or hide Stone Forsythe. You better not run power right at his ass. You run power right at his ass, then you expose any faults that he has. He can miss a block, bang, interior defensive lineman is going to crush Genty at the line of scrimmage or even in the backfield, right? Do not run the power run scheme at Stone Forsythe. Don't do it. You do it, I fear that we're going to have a long, long day. So you can hide him in the running game. You could also hide him in the passing game. Again, help him out. Bring some help, chip him with a running back, chip an edge rusher with an offset H-back, right? There's things you can help out. In addition to that, what I want to see is us move the pocket. Run some play action, move the pocket where we move it away from Stone Forsythe, right? Run play action to Forsythe's side, to Stone's side, and move Gino to the opposite way. And it's not always just about play action. You can just quarter roll him, right? Quarter roll him away from Stone Forsythe, right? Bring a little bit more help to that side, not Stone Forsythe's side, but to the quarter roll side. But all that does is that gives just a half a second to a second more of distance that edge rusher can get to Gino. And so just move the pocket a little bit. So there's things that you can do to help Stone Forsythe out, and that's what I want to see. But it's going to be tough because it's not like this is a Band-Aid for a game. Stone Forsythe, unless he does absolute shit, and now we have Charles Grant, and we'll talk about Charles Grant in a second, but Stone Forsythe potentially is going to be, he's going to be basically the replacement moving forward. And this is why it's so goddamn important to address the depth at the offensive line position. Look at the Chargers, right? The Chargers, Rashawn Slater gets hurt, and they didn't look like they skipped a beat. Why? Because they prioritized the offensive line as a unit, not just the starters, but the backups as well. Joe Alt goes down. We'll see just kind of how they continue to run the ball and protect Herbert over there. But they didn't skip a beat when Rashawn Slater went down. We went out and we got one of the worst offensive tackles in the National Football League as a backup. And if it shows tomorrow, that means once again, we failed to prioritize the offensive line, not just with starters, but with backups as well. So we'll talk about Charles Grant in just a second. But again, I just kind of want to get to the chat. J-Dog, exactly the motion they do show Sim on run play. We keep doing, 80% of the time when I see motion, it's basically and we end up running the ball. It's tough. It's tough because that's just another tell that we see. Oh, one other thing, again, one way to kind of take pressure off of Forsythe is even in run plays, spread it out, lighten the box. Don't let linebackers crowd the box. Don't let safeties walk up and play inside the box. Force these safeties to have to truly play, 13 to 15 yards back. Get them out of the box. Force the linebackers to walk out of the box. Create natural running lanes. Do not let them stack the box. Now, if you want to kind of play around with it, go 80-20, 20% of the time, run out of a tight formation. Don't be so predictable. But spread them out. Spread this defense out. Let Genty break 1, maybe 2 tackles instead of and kind of get him into space instead of him having to break 3, 4, 5 tackles before he even gets to second level. So spread this out. Take some pressure off of Stone Forsythe. And again, now he knows he's got one assignment. It's not a question mark on who he's blocking because now he sees 3, 4, 5 guys in front of him. You spread everything out. Now he knows I got this guy. I might step down and help and then get to the second level, or he's got a guy right in front of him. It takes the pressure on the communication aspect of the offensive line if you spread things out. So, they'll target Stone Forsythe for sure. I believe they would. If I was a defensive coordinator, you bet your ass I'm going to be bringing pressure on that side. I'm going to test Forsythe's eyes, his eye discipline. I'm going to run a lot of twists in front of him. I'm going to just see how good his feet are. I'm going to see how good his eyes are in pass protection. And I'm going to bull rush right at him. And then I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to just run stunts in front of him just to see how well is his feet moving, how well are his eyes disciplined to see the action in front of him. I'm 100% with you. Raider Night, what's going on? Let's face it, taking an L tomorrow. Well, I hope not, but we're gonna break down the Colts Raiders matchup right now. So we'll lead into that. J Dog, our bum linebackers isn't playing either, or Bowers. Look, I will say our linebackers are doing a pretty good job of flying to the football. I think they're doing a really good job as playing as a unit. I think that Commanders game was kind of a game that we just got out coached. They did a hell of a job. We broke down the game film. I saw it too many goddamn times where we just got out schemed. They ran a bunch of heavy sets, unbalanced lines, and we just didn't adjust to it. We didn't adjust. We didn't adjust our linebackers, our defensive front, and there was times where they just triple teamed the shit out of our edge rushers. They'd have two offensive tackles going after Malcolm Kuntz with the help of a tight end, and they would just dominate the line of scrimmage because we didn't adjust. And so I think we just got completely outcoached by Cliff Kingsbury against the Commanders, and that's why we look bad. But for the most part, I think our linebackers are flying. They're doing a really good job. I've even seen moments where I played linebacker the majority of my life. From my younger years up and through high school, I played linebacker. And when you are having fun, and I played linebacker next to my best friend. To this day, he's my best friend. We still go to Raider games together. I'm actually going to go back and watch my old high school play, and I'm going with him. You know, we're going to link up, and we're going to go and just go watch our old high school play and go back for their homecoming. And we knew when we were having a field day. We had fun. We just had a communication. There was moments where these linebackers, man, they're coming together, and they're high-fiving each other. You know, like they're looking for each other to celebrate with. So I think they're flying, having a good time. I think the Commanders game was kind of a one-off where we just got basically out-coached. But I think our linebackers are playing well, coming downhill. And so, yeah, J. Dog Myers is out without question. Dixon, we're definitely losing tomorrow. I hope I'm too hungover to miss the game. I will be having a drink. So shout out to you guys. Again, I don't go live for the games, but it's because I rewind too much during the game. So I can't come on here and go live, unfortunately. So I would just piss you guys off because I'll be 30 minutes behind the game. And so, yeah, man. You said I think we have a chance if Gino gets his stuff in one bag, man. If he brings it together, minimize the interceptions and turnovers, you know, I think we always can basically have a chance at the end of the day. And so, Dixon, you say, honestly, give Forsythe a quarter. If he's ass, go to Charles Grant. Let's talk about Charles Grant in just a second. Frank Perez, what's up, man? I see you here. You're going to Indianapolis. I'll be there tomorrow. Isn't that crazy about what happened to Mark Sanchez from Fox Sports, man? We talked about it. I'm not going to the game tomorrow. There was a slight chance I was going to because Chris, he lives in Cleveland. So we were thinking about going, but we just couldn't put it all together, so I'm not. But, man, have fun at the game. For sure, but yeah, it's crazy what happened with Mark, man. We talked about it earlier, and it's crazy. Hopefully he gets better, but we'll just kind of see who started all that mess, man, because it gets wild out there. Let's see. Jay, might have to line up Ian Thomas next to Stone for help. Yeah, that's one thing we can do. What up, Jack? What's going on? And so, real quick, let me make sure I kind of get down to everybody. Let's see. No, man, I'm not, man, but enjoy it. Enjoy it for sure. Let's see. I just want to make sure I kind of get to everybody. Let's see. ASAP. You do give up inside linebackers. Yeah, I was a middle linebacker. And then after my high school years, I had to switch over to safety. But I was a middle linebacker, ultimately youth years, and all 4 years of high school. And so, fun part is having that come to Jesus moment, that wake up moment. Even playing varsity ball, in before sophomore year, I get pulled up and had fun, man. That's where my mentality is, definitely for sure. But then had to move over to safety, kind of after high school. So let's do this. Let's talk about Charles Grant. If Stone Forsythe does kind of shit the bed the first quarter, right? I'm probably going to say because he is a Pete Carroll guy, man. I think it's going to be tough. I think there's a good chance that Pete Carroll kind of hangs on to him and lets him just kind of play, and he doesn't bench him, right away. I think he's probably going to give him, even if Forsythe shits the bed, right? I think he will give him at a minimum the full first half. I would hate to see Charles Grant go in. I hope we're all wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and Stone Forsythe does well. That's what I hope, but I don't have high hopes for that. My confidence level isn't there, but I would hate to see Charles Grant go in because based on what we saw, I knew Charles Grant was going to be a project when we drafted him. I wasn't a fan of drafting him, but I knew that going into it, he was going to be a project. But when we started seeing him when this preseason started, I want to know kind of how much of a project is this guy going to be. And the preseason show that he is going to be a big project. So let me know, guys, do you want to see Stone Forsythe right away? Or Charles Grant right away? What's your confidence level on Charles Grant when he goes in? If he goes in. But my thing is I don't think he's ready. And I don't want to see him kind of get thrown into the Wolves right now, because I'd love to see him have an entire season and then potentially an off season of understanding this level. I mean, he's coming from William and Mary. He's coming from a Division II school, I believe it was. It was a culture shock for him coming to the NFL, and it showed. So I don't want to see Charles Grant. I don't want to put him in a situation to where you do more damage by throwing him into the Wolves, and now it's a massive culture shock, and now he's giving up sacks, or he's giving up pressures, or he's giving up, he's missing his blocks, and all of a sudden Genty is getting tackled on the backfield. It's like, because I don't have the confidence in him, and it's a toss-up. I'm not going to argue with anybody whether or not you think Charles Grant should be in versus Stone Forsythe, because right now it's a toss-up on who would actually perform better, because it just goes to show how bad Stone Forsythe has shown to be based on what we saw last year. I just don't want to see Charles Grant get thrown in. I want to see him continue to work on his development. But this is more of a knock. This is more of a knock on Pete Carroll. If Stone Forsythe comes in, I would have more confidence in Thayer Mumford. Yeah, I think we'd still be in trouble, but at least we know Thayer Mumford can show flashes of being okay. He showed flashes in preseason of being okay. And at least he's got a little bit of a veteran presence to kind of show. But, oh, man, if we got to go to Charles Grant, it's going to be tough, without question. And so, Jay, you're saying Geno needs to play a clean game. He might have a chance. We might. No turnovers. I think we always have a chance. You know what I'm saying? And so, ASAP, you're saying I switch positions. I have to, man. I had to. I was an undersized linebacker even in high school. I'm 5'11". I was about 195, 200 pounds in high school. But the reason why I'll be honest, I was good in high school was because I studied game film. I was smart. I was quick. I was fast, and I'd hit anybody, to be honest with you. So, but I knew I had to be smarter than my opponents because I knew I was going to be outsized in the line of scrimmage. And so, but when after high school, kind of moving on, I knew I had to transfer to safety, and I did, and I played well. Played well because, again, it was more about just me studying up and knowing that I had to know my opponent better than I knew my own play and knew myself. And that's kind of what helped me out. 805, Hunter, what's going on? Raider from Santa Barbara. Thank you for the videos, man. Hey, shout out to you. Shout out to you, man. I'm going to be in Ventura County in a couple weeks. And anytime I actually come into town, I actually fly into Santa Barbara. So it's just the easiest way to kind of get over there. Even though I'm in the Vegas area and it's a short drive, man, I'll fly into Santa Barbara when I can, man, because that's the easiest airport. But, man, shout out to you, man. Santa Barbara is beautiful. Actually, I played at Santa Barbara City College. Way back in the day, beautiful stadium, beautiful view from Santa Barbara City College. So, man, shout out to you, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate the super chat as well, man. And so just compete. I know. I know. What up, Taddy? What's going on, man? I'd wait until like mid-season to let the kid play. I wouldn't be mad at it. Wouldn't be mad at it without question. Jack, what up? Personally, I'd have a short leash on Forsyth and have our third round pick. Play. I think it would. Shit, man. It's hard. It's hard. I don't know how well Charles Grant's doing in practice. The only thing I would say is that it's like I said with Geno versus Kenny Pickett, right? If Kenny Pickett was ready to go in, I think we'd hear from reporters. We'd hear some questions based on how bad Geno Smith has been playing. Some of the reporters would be like, hey, are you considering making a switch because Kenny Pickett is showing flashes in practice? We ain't hearing none of that. So we're not hearing anything about Charles Grant. We're not hearing anything about if he's playing well, if he's improving. But we don't hear shit about Stone Forsyth either. So, would it be an upgrade if Forsyth is doing bad? Would it be an upgrade to put in Charles Grant? I don't know. It's like the quarterback position, right? If Geno Smith continued to shit the bed the next few weeks, right? Let's say he throws 3 picks tomorrow. He throws 2 picks against the Titans, and we look like crap against the Chiefs. Do you throw Kenny Pickett in knowing that he's not going to do any better? He's not going to move the needle. It's like, do you throw Charles Grant in and potentially ruin, knowing that he may not move the needle, he may not improve the play at that position, but you might do more damage by throwing him into the fire and he's just not ready. Because, again, it's not like he came from an SEC school and you just got maybe give him a half a season, all of a sudden, man, he's ready to rock. No, he came from a small William and Mary where this is a culture shock for him. And so it's like, are you going to do more damage? Do you just kind of write out the season knowing shit, even if we put Charles Grant in there, we still only going to win 4 games? Maybe, right? Like, I don't know if I'd want to do more damage knowing that if we put him in, you're not going to improve the play at all. And we're still going to get minimum wins out of it. Would I rather sit him and know that we're going to get the same amount of wins and maybe just allow him to learn as the season goes on? I'll be honest. I just hate the fact that if Stone Forsyth comes out and ends up being absolute shit, it's just another reason why a lot of us can sit there and go, I told you so, Chip Kelly or Pete Carroll. All these decisions you've been making sucks, and the Raider Nation fan base is going to be pissed off, and we're all going to be arguing over the next decision that he makes, whether it's a good one or a bad one. It's just, we just can't trust the process. Unfortunately, we can't. J-Dog, problem is we wait for them to get thrown in, just play them, and know we got to evaluate for the next draft early. Maybe, maybe. I think you make a good point on just seeing what we have, right? Shit, I think we know what we have in Charles Grant. I'd love to see him just kind of sit and learn the game, knowing that he came from a small school. But it could be a good point to throw him in and be like, man, if you suck, then it's just the wasted 3rd round draft pick, and we got to prioritize it in the draft. It just sucks. Daddy, if Geno can stop turning over the ball, I think we can get back to 500. If that run game continues to work, I'm with you. I'm with you, man. The evaluation is at practice, though. Development happens arguably in live games. I don't argue it. I don't argue it, man. So ASAP, man, the 5, the smart captain. I was a captain on the football field, but at the same time, I was always the defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator, but always defensive coordinator. And hey, you got to be the leader. You got to show by example, and you got to earn the trust of everybody. In order to be a leader, you got to earn the trust of everybody, and you earn the trust by example. When I was a coach, real quick story, man. Dix, I'm gonna get you your super chat. I appreciate you, man. I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate everybody rocking. Over 100 people in the building. Appreciate you guys. When I coached, I always knew that just because I had the position of defensive coordinator didn't mean I automatically had the respect, and the players that I coached had to trust me. No, I had to earn the respect. And the way you earn the respect is by showing them that when you tell them something's going to happen on the field, it actually happens. That's why I scout the shit out of my opponent. That's why when I go and tell a player that in this situation, on this down and distance, this is the formation they're going to come out in, and this is the play you're most likely going to see. When it happens on the field, when it happens in a game, that's when you start to earn the trust of them. And that's why we break down game film, to be dead honest, because I'm not just going to tell you to be like, this is my opinion. For the most part, I'm gonna say it, and I'm going to show you that I at least did my homework. And there's a lot that if I don't know, because I'm not there in the coaches' rooms, I'm not there in practice. If I don't know, then I'll tell you I don't know. I'm just going to kind of give you my best assessment, my opinion. But if I tell you someone is not looking good, then I'm gonna bring the game film to kind of show it. So, that's kind of that's the mentality that I always bring to anything that I do. Is it's not I'm going to tell you and I am going to disrespect you or hate you because you don't believe me. I'm going to show you. And that's kind of the way that I've been able to gain the respect of all the places that I've coached, California and in Texas, and gain the reputation that I had as a coach was that I don't just tell you and dictate to you what's going to happen or what I want you to do. I'm going to show you on game film. And when game time hits, you're going to be like, oh shit, coach told me that was going to happen, and it happened. And that's when you start to gain the trust and the respect of the players, and everybody else around you. So that's kind of where my mentality comes as a coach. That's why I love breaking down game film and showing y'all. What up, Bob? What's going on, man? Are we talking 2026 draft? It's if we shit the bed against Indy and if we lose against the Titans, which again, I don't think the Titans is going to be an easy game. They got a damn good defense over there. I think it's going to be a battle. I think at that point, I don't think anybody's going to be hating on doing mock drafts, looking at the next season, and even playing for goddamn a draft position. I'm not gonna lie. I know last year a shit ton of people would just hate on you. For talking about, well, let's play for a draft pick. And that was later in the season. That was like 3-4 games left. When people start talking that way and everybody's like, oh, you're not a Raider fan. It's like, bro, we see the writing on the wall. If we start talking like that this early, it's gonna be rough. And so ASAP, man, hell lot of battle scars. I did. Hey, shit, maybe one of these days I'll break out. I got 3 separate helmets from all the levels that I played. I got 3 separate helmets from high school and beyond. And I got those helmets and they got stick marks. The one thing you'll know is if you got a shit ton of marks on the front of your helmet, those are from me hurting you. If you got a shit ton of marks on the side of your helmet from the crown and back, that's from you hurting me. So that's the one way you can tell just how much action someone had and what type of action it was. If you got a bunch of marks on the front of your helmet, that's from me hurting you. So I might bring up, they're all packed away in the garage. I might bring up some of the helmets and just have a little bit of fun. Show you guys. But appreciate you, ASAP. J-Dog, pickable, most likely make better decisions than Gino. If that means making better decisions by maybe hold on the football, maybe taking off and running and not forcing some of the throws and not, forcing or creating some of the turnovers, bad throws, maybe, but just watch this fan base get all pissed off because he's holding the ball too long. And there's also times where people blame Gino for holding the ball too long. But we pointed out a couple times in game film where it's not that he's holding the ball too long. It's that he's still in the pocket. You can't throw the ball away when he's in the pocket, and there's nobody open downfield. The receivers are having trouble creating separation from their defenders. Deontay Thornton's can't create separation. Brock Bowers isn't creating separation because of the injury, right? The last couple of weeks, it's been tough for him. So he's not creating separation. Trey Tucker, he's hit or miss, right? He will create separation at times, but it's not all the time. Jacoby Myers, he's never been good at creating consistent separation, but he does a good job. If you throw the ball on time, he will have that separation for that moment. But you got to throw the ball on time. And this is where Geno Smith is late at times. This might be part of him still learning the offensive scheme, the offensive game plan, the offensive structure. But a lot of times Geno's holding on the ball. It's because there's no one to throw to. Nobody's open, and he's still in the pocket, can't throw the ball away. So sometimes it's not his fault. Just remember that. But if Kenny Pickett comes in and does the same thing, just remember the fan base is going to lose their shit because Kenny Pickett is just holding the ball, and then maybe it's a forced sack or something. So just remember that when quarterbacks hold on the football, when you're watching it in real time, sometimes those receivers aren't open downfield. Not a whole lot they could do. And so Bobby's saying, how can you say Pickett will not do better than Geno? Of course he will. You can't, but you also can't say Kenny Pickett will do better without question, right? As time goes on. Will he do better than 3 picks? I would hope so. But can Geno do better than 3 picks? I think Geno can. I think, Geno throwing picks multiple games, that's tough. He's got to improve. Again, it goes back to, do I think Geno Smith can improve? I think he can. Do we know what Geno Smith's ceiling is? Yes. I think Geno Smith can be a better quarterback. He's shown it in the past. Can he improve and not throw 3 interceptions? I think so. But can we fully, without question, say Kenny Pickett is going to be a clear-cut improvement over Geno? I'm not going to sit there and say it. You can. I'm game with it. You can say it. I'm not going to say he's a clear improvement over Geno Smith. So it's tough, but I do think he's got to be on a short leash, and I think a clear message has already needed to be sent to Geno and say, look, if you don't improve, changes do need to happen. But if we do go with Kenny Pickett, man, my confidence level in this season is not going to be very good going to each and every game. J-Dog, we've seen so many tip passes again so far this season. Yeah, we just gotta minimize the turnovers, man. It's tough. Daddy, what's going on, man? How do we overcome our 2 tight ends out? Got to run some 4 wide, right? I kind of went over it a little bit earlier, man. So I don't want to completely repeat it because it was long. So definitely go back and check it out. But I think we got to spread things out. I think that you can help out Stone Forsythe a little bit. I think that we might see more of Jack Besh. We might see more Jack Besh kind of playing more of that tight end, that offset back role where maybe Brock Bowers is playing, and get Jack Besh more involved in that passing game, maybe in that tight end position a little bit, where he's more kind of offset, right? Inside the box, but off the line of scrimmage. We already saw him motion into the backfield and help out in the run game. We've already seen it. So we might see it even more with Jack Besh. Carter Runyon was elevated, so he might play more of that passing type tight end because we saw flashes of it in preseason, so we might see that. But the one way that we can maybe overcome and help out even Stone Forsythe is in the run game is run zone, inside zone out of him where Genty can cut back, run some run plays away from him, run some pitch plays, get Genty out of the box as soon as possible, and get him on the edge as quickly as possible. But also roll Geno out. Move the pocket away from Stone Forsythe. Quarter roll Geno Smith. Give him just that extra second and a half from the edge that's rushing over Stone Forsythe. We just got to move the pocket. And if we do, man, I do think that we have a chance of hiding Stone Forsythe a little bit. So, again, man, I went in much deeper detail a little bit earlier, man. Go check it out. But I appreciate you tapping it with me. And I appreciate you hitting that hashtag Raiders, man. Jay, did you see Thornton open D pass on those 2 picks? Same play by Geno. Look, there are times where John C. Thornton can get open sometimes on that deep route, but man, it's so few and far between. Unfortunately, to be honest, man, sometimes he doesn't have a clean get off, and that definitely hinders him with his 4.3 speed. And so, but there are times where there are some misreads. I definitely definitely agree. So What up, Jimmy? I'm almost done with my Jack and Coke. All right, man. I've been sipping on that thing way too much. I might pop another beer open. It's 5 o'clock. My wife took the kids to a birthday party I had to go to. They're doing some pottery stuff. I said, I got the house to myself. I'm going to jump on and do it live. Check it with you guys on a Saturday, man. I appreciate everybody chopping it up with me. Man, I might have still 45 minutes, man. So if you guys still want to rock out for about 45 minutes, chop this thing up, definitely appreciate it. Give me enough time to crack open one beer with y'all. What up, Manny? What's going on? And we're going to end it. We're talking about this matchup because I want to know if this is a must-win game for Pete Carroll in this locker room. Let me know. And so, Bob, you're saying, what was the one thing we knew about Geno prior to the season? He throws picks. He hasn't disappointed. He did throw quite a few picks last year. I'm not going to lie. You go back and look at some of those picks. You can account to maybe about 4 of those picks because they just kind of went deep, late at the half or late in games. There was definitely interceptions to where they were trying to come back in games and he had to force a deep throw. So you can minimize probably about maybe 4 to 5 of those picks. There were some tip passes that popped up in the air, and I know that happens all the time. And so you can minimize some of those, but there were some nasty throws that he made, especially in the red zone. So I'm not going to say that he doesn't own a lot of those interceptions. He does without question. So, but I went back and I watched every interception. And, you can minimize some of those numbers last year, but that does not excuse the interceptions we see this year. Because each interception that we have seen so far this year really has been bad decisions by Geno. So, it's tough. It's tough, for sure. Let's see. All right, Isaiah, go get another beer, dog. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. 1-4 is nasty work. We need a win. I'm with you. Bob, you're saying I firmly believe Pete is one and done along with Geno and Chip. Chip, you agree? Okay. Shit, that's a whole nother topic. And so, yes, I am going to have to grab beer on this one because I got a lot to say about this one. And Bob, I think you just took up the next 45 minutes. I don't think Chip's one and done. Reason being is because I think he is the next guy. I do think Chip Kelly is the next guy. Jack, I see you. I don't know. I believe Michael Pittman Jr., I believe he's playing, but I do think he's still questionable. Actually, I have it up. Hold on. Let's see. I believe he's questionable. Michael Pittman. He doesn't. They don't even have him listed. So I think he's just questionable at this point. And so you pull Chip Kelly away from college football after winning a national championship. You pay him the highest. He's the highest paid offensive coordinator coming into the National Football League. We were not a good situation for him to come to, right? Chip Kelly could have moved into. There was a bunch of head coaching vacancies. I think there was 6 other head coaching vacancies coming into this season. I know a lot of offensive coordinators took over those roles, but there were some defensive coordinators, right? There was guys that were defensive coordinators elsewhere that took on head coaching roles. So they needed to find an offensive coordinator. So there was probably 2 or 3 other vacancies or shit. Even the offensive coordinators that got head coaching jobs last year, their former teams needed to find some offensive coordinators. Chip Kelly came to us knowing that we had a quarterback issue. He wasn't coming here with a quarterback. We had an offensive line issue. We had Brock Bowers. We had Jacoby Myers. So we had some weapons. We also had to kind of grow on that. We had to add to that. And he's coming to a brand new head coach, knowing that it's going to take a few years to potentially have something happen, right? But Chip Kelly ultimately took the job, and you made him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the National Football League. Here's my thing, is I think Chip Kelly took the job. The only way that you convince Chip Kelly to take this job is that you also kind of under the table give him a promise of you're the next man. Because the only reason why Chip Kelly, I think, comes to the National Football League is to ultimately have another chance at a head coaching position. And you have a head coach that has a 3-year contract with the 4th-year option, and there's still question marks as to whether or not Pete Carroll is going to last 3 years. And not just by performance, but by just mentally. If you ever have had an older parent or older grandparent, you know how quickly age can hit you. And so what happens if by the end of next year, Pete Carroll ain't all there? What happens if all of a sudden we just see a mental lapse with him and now it's time to move on? I think they brought in Chip Kelly to be the next guy. That's my opinion. Guys, let me know. I think that's the only way you coax or convince Chip Kelly to come here, and then you pay him top dollar to kind of make it happen. So that's kind of my take. Now, when it comes to Pete Carroll, this is the other reason why I hope, Pete Carroll, he's got 3 years at best. That 4th-year option, I just don't think you're going to bring him on. He's going to be 78 years old. Like, that's wild if he gets that 4th-year option. My thing is that with Pete Carroll, I basically said, look, you hire on Pete Carroll. It's not a normal coach, first-year head coach hire. You're not going to give him a full 3 years to figure this thing out, maybe even 4 years. You're not going to give him that. Pete Carroll had to make the playoffs this year. And I think that's why he went and got Geno, because he thought Geno was the guy. You make the playoffs this year, you make a deep run in the playoffs next year, maybe Super Bowl the following. Like, you got to rush the process because Pete Carroll may not be with us. And so I wanted Pete Carroll to make the playoffs this year. You got to rush the process because of the age and the limited time we're going to have with Pete Carroll. But you also bring in Pete Carroll. Here's another thing on Chip. And again, I'll get to chat in a second. I apologize. I'm kind of ranting. But the other reason why you bring on Chip Kelly, and Chip Kelly possibly is the next guy up, is because you bring in Pete Carroll to change the culture. If you don't continue with somebody that's already in the locker room, that you've already taken maybe 2-3 years to change the culture, and then you bring in somebody else from the outside, then whatever culture you change to, now it's gone. It's gone. That head coach is going to bring on his own culture. That head coach is going to bring on his own staff, his own mentality, his own mindset into this organization. So any work Pete Carroll did is in the trash, out the drain, and you're done, because they're also going to bring in their own roster. You're going to flip over this roster and bring in your own guys. So with that being said, I think if Chip Kelly becomes the guy, then yes, Chip Kelly's going to put his stamp on it. But there's a chance that at least on the offensive side, you keep the same guys. You can keep maybe the majority of this locker room and continue on with that culture. Possibly. Again, that's debatable whether or not Chip Kelly is going to keep that same culture based on his past. He will keep the stamp on it. But at least you can possibly keep some of the same players in this locker room and continue with some of the culture that you brought in Pete Carroll to build. If you don't, if you switch it all up, man, that culture shit's out the window. And that was never a reason why you brought in Pete Carroll, was to change the culture. Was never the reason. So, my bad. I apologize for the rant. Freedom. 1, 2, 3. Tried telling all my Raider people, Chip Kelly ain't the guy. Look, you can't argue it. He's not doing very well so far. We'll see if he kind of changes things around. There were a lot of question marks. Shout out to our guy Severe as well as Chris. Myself too, but I was hoping that his stint in college and kind of getting more of those relationships down was going to change him a little bit. I'm always about giving a guy a second chance, but his history did not go well, and the whole change of the stance thing was not a good look in the very, very beginning. And so Dixon, next guy, as in next head coach after Pete. Yeah, man, I think the plan is Chip, but we'll see. We'll see kind of how it works out. What up, Troy? I'm worried about this game. You need to believe in old man Pete and this staff. I don't have a lot of confidence in Pete. I'll be honest. I don't. But the thing is that he's the first guy that we've ever been able to, that has the history enough to be like, damn it, we need to trust the process a little bit. He's been the only guy in the long stream of coaches that we've had that we can sit back and go, at least he's got the pedigree to possibly trust the process. And that's why I'm not so quick to just bench Geno. I'm like, screw it. I don't care if Geno loses us the next 5 games. It's more about, can we trust Pete Carroll in any decision he makes moving forward? That's the biggest thing for me, man. I just want this fan base to trust. I can definitely give you my opinion, and it's going to rattle the feathers of a lot of people, and it's just going to keep us fan base continue just arguing left day in and day out. And so, J-Dog, you can't run the same play multiple times, but not with the same motion. There was a play. I want to say it was against the Chargers. Might have been the Chargers. Chip Kelly literally ran the same exact play back to back. Same exact play. They came on the formation, ran the play. It was a penalty. I believe it was a holding penalty. And then we came back and ran the same formation, same play, and we got sacked for like an 8-yard loss. Like, I've never, that's Pop Warner shit, where you literally just play the same exact play over again. I think, we had a call for it back in the day. It was called anytime that we wanted to repeat the play, it was a Pete call. It was a Pete. It was a Pete call, and we just run the same play. But that was like my early years of coaching when I coached Pop Warner my first 6 years of coaching. Like, that's Pop Warner shit. And they knew it was coming, and it resulted in an 8-yard sack. Like, I've never seen the NFL, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen the NFL where an offensive coordinator literally runs the exact same play. You can run the same run play, but switch up the formation. I see it all the time. But yeah, it's wild, man. I saw it and I pointed it out, man. It's crazy. So, Bob, you're saying Chip only came here because they made him an offer he couldn't refuse. I agree. And I think that offer is you're the next guy. You're potentially the next guy. What up, Pigs? What's going on, man? So much of this team right now is riding on Grant and Rodgers stepping up. Man, Rodgers, that's a whole other topic, man, but I'm with you. Charles Grant might be thrown in pretty quick. But here's the thing. I think Carlos Rodgers is far. Like, and again, I may not agree with it, but if JPJ or Dylan Parham goes down, it's going to be an Alice Kappa show all over again, and then we're going to be in trouble. Yeah, you got PG overhead as the next head coach, man. It might be, but man, I don't think PG's a head coach. That's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. He strikes me as a guy that's, maybe a good coordinator, can relate well to the players a little bit, but man, I don't see the mentality of a head coach. And again, I could just be wrong. And it's purely just a feeling for me when I look at head coaches and just what I look as characteristics in head coaches. I just don't see it. And that's not a good explanation. And I know, and again, I could be wrong. You could be right. But I don't see it, which is tough. And Bob, oh my God, you're saying Chip Kelly is a handshake deal. What other way do you coax them to an organization that sucks with no quarterback? I'm just saying it could have just been money. Without question, could have just been money, and he might be on his way out to another organization. But I think he comes here knowing that you're a shit organization, but I also ultimately want to be a head coach at some point. Maybe he takes it because he knows there's a head coach above me that is on a short leash with only a 3 to 4 year contract. Again, it's just speculation at my point. Troy, make sure Chip Kelly just coaches, not a GM. Yeah, we'll see. Dixon, all the NFL will hate us if we fire Pete, though. It'll just be another way for all of us to. It'll just be another way for all of us Raider fan base to lose our shit. Isaiah, I say 2-3 years with Pete. J-Dog, I think we should just ditch Geno somehow, Pete. And I don't fault anybody for just saying blow this shit up, man, because I think we have Raider PTSD. We do. I mean, we've been shit for so long, and even when we've had the short successes, we go to the playoffs in 2016, we go to the playoffs in 2021, and we blow shit up. We blow everything up. You know, we have this Raiders organization on a short leash ourselves. So I'm not going to blame anybody for just getting pissed off, you know, every time we don't start the season out well. I ain't going to blame you. Ready to roll. What's going on? So, it's tough. I do think, Herman, man, I appreciate you becoming a member. Appreciate it. Yeah, I just dropped some members again. We might do some member only stuff. I take it back. I'm definitely do some member only stuff as I grow it. There'll be some member only lives, member only giveaways. YouTube doesn't give me the option to show member only giveaways. It's more like you do discounts and stuff. But I appreciate you supporting the channel, man. But I appreciate everybody that just subscribes at the same time, because I do a sub only chat. We do our sub only chats when we go lives as well in the Raider War Room. So I definitely appreciate you becoming a member. But I'll definitely do some member only lives as well. Just kind of chop it up with everybody and do some member only giveaways as well, man. But I'm not going to stop just my normal giveaways, because again, anything I make on here, I give it back to you guys. Just my way of showing my appreciation, saying thank you for the support, man. You guys allow me to do this and get my itch out of wanting to coach, which saves my marriage. So, Kevin Lurker, Chip is so disappointing so far, man. He is, man. Jay, not sold on Chip, but we need continuity, so he needs to be there for another year unless we don't beat our priority record. I do think Chip ain't going nowhere. He's not. I'm with you, man. So I think he's here. And what sucks though, now with all the injuries, like if Brock doesn't come back for a few weeks, Michael Mayer, obviously he's going to come back. It's just a concussion thing. But with Colton Miller out, and now if Stone Forsythe just continues to shit the bed, let me ask you guys, answer this. If Stone Forsythe continues to shit the bed, let's say he plays bad. Let's say Charles Grant comes in and plays bad, and they have a negative effect on this offense as a whole. You tell me, is it Chip Kelly's fault, or is it Pete Carroll? Who would you blame? Who would you blame if Stone Forsythe is really the reason why our offense continues to struggle if we can't produce on the offensive side? Like if he's clearly giving up sacks, if he's clearly giving up pressures, if he's clearly missing blocks, is it a Pete Carroll thing? Because that's a Pete Carroll guy. He drafted him, and he brought him back a week before the first game of the season. He prioritized bringing him back and cut Theron Mumford. Who do you blame that on? Is that a Chip Kelly fault, or is it a Pete Carroll fault knowing that it's guy? Let me know in the comment section. I'll definitely bring it up. J-Dog Pete is a pushover. We need Gruden. Either a pushover, or I don't know if he's a pushover, man. I think he's stubborn. He might be stubborn in his ways. What up, Daniel Smith? What's going on? Big Colts fan. Hey, man, I think we're all hoping we beat you guys up tomorrow, man. But I appreciate you tapping in with us. Freedom 123. I think you're saying Chip's playbook is like 20 plays. Remember the Richard Sherman interview when Philly played Seattle? Mentioned that Chip only calls 15 plays, so it's easy to key on him. Look, the 2 interceptions that Geno had was basically the same exact play. So, man, I can't disagree with you. And looking at what we're, seeing, one of my knocks on Chip Kelly earlier in the season, we switched it up a little bit against the Commanders. Was we saw a lot of run at a tight formations. And I'm sitting there going, man, if our offense is struggling, why the hell are you running out of tight formations constantly, which brings everything in the box? Doesn't make any sense. And we saw it over and over and over again. So I can't disagree with you, man. Can't disagree with you. Kenneth, 2 picks versus the Bears was also the same play. Yep. Yeah, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, Teddy, I agree. PG isn't a head coach material. And again, it's just a feeling, man. It's just a feeling. I can't give you any definitive reason why I think that. Nothing that I've seen. It's just the mannerisms things, and that's not a good evaluation of it because I'm not in the locker room. I'm not in those coaches' rooms, and just kind of how looks like the players do well reacting to him, which is great. That's half the battle, is just being a player's coach, right? So it's just a feeling, but I could be wrong. Isaiah, handshake deal don't mean shit. I'm with you. I'm with you. And so let's see. Picks, Pete and Gino get at least a 3-year window. That's their contract. I don't know if they'll last 3 years, but we'll see. We will see. Picks, I suspect we drafted QB in the first to work behind Gino. Hopefully, but man, I'm starting to kind of get into the quarterback evaluation when it comes to college, and I like to kind of give about half the season when it comes to college quarterbacks, because you always see there's going to be a sleeper quarterback that kind of comes out of nowhere, right? So I'm starting to dip into it now. We'll see if there's a first round quarterback truly worth picking them, and if there is, we might need some draft capital to move around depending on if we're picking number 1, we're sitting pretty. But if we're picking number 5 or 6 or 7, you're gonna need some draft capital to move around if you want to get the top quarterback. So again, depending on who you want. What up, D Mokes? What's going on? What's better for this line to run, zone or power? I'll answer this very, very simply. With Stone Forsythe and the lack of tight end help, you want to run inside zone at Stone Forsythe. I explained this a little bit earlier in the video, so I'm not going to go in deeper detail, man. Go check it out afterwards. If we run to Stone Forsythe's side, you run inside zone at him, because then hopefully you develop that cutback lane away from him, right? That's what I want. But then you run away from Stone Forsythe. You run pitches to get him away from that side as quickly as possible, and you run outside zone away from Stone Forsythe, which I'm not a big fan of either. I don't think Genty's a good outside zone guy. I think Genty needs to get the line of scrimmage very quickly. So you run power away from Stone Forsythe, and you run either pitches and maybe at the very least some outside zone away from Stone Forsythe. Again, I would be more power away from Forsythe and pitches to get Genty outside. But if you run at Stone Forsythe, do not run power at him or outside zone. Don't do it, because we're going to be in trouble. In my opinion, if he performs anything like we saw against Seattle, you run power at him, it's going to be a long day. J-Dog, I thought Pete had a 1-year deal. Yeah, it's a 3-year contract with a 4th-year option. Buckle up. Troy, I'm tired of losing, but we need to stop recycling coaches. We just need to go with it. And that's the reason why, is like, love or hate Gino, I just want this coaching staff to prove us wrong on some of these decisions. That's why. Prove us wrong that Gino can actually work out and turn this thing around a little bit. So I'm like, shit, like I want to just keep rolling with Gino to give Pete Carroll a chance to show us that, yes, you made the right decision on trading for Gino and going after him and not addressing the quarterback position. That was the way we addressed it. So again, I'm not saying he's going to turn it around. I'm not saying he's going to be good. Fuck, man, we need some way to trust the process, or the fan base is just going to fight all day in and day out, or we're going to suck so goddamn bad we're finally all going to be on the same page on when we start doing mock drafts and just tanking for a draft pick. To be dead honest. Mopar, what happens if Pete Carroll ends up with a worse record than AP? I'm honestly, I think we still roll with him, to be dead honest. I think he's the first coach that at least deserves another year, just because of his record, just because of his history. And again, we may not agree with it, but it's like he's got the pedigree. He's the best head coach we've had in years, and so we may just be able to give him. We should just give him one more year. Just be like, look, if you're shit, then you're shit, and we can get out of here. But damn, like, he's the first head coach that we've had. I don't think anybody can disagree. His pedigree shows he's the best head coach we've had in so long. And again, I may not be a fan of it, I may not have confidence in it, but I'm like, damn it. For everybody that comes on here and talks shit to us and others, myself, and says, what, do you think you know more than this head coach? What, do you think you know more than this front office? I'm sitting there going, damn it. I just might. Because there's a lot of things that I did not like that they went elsewhere and it didn't pan out. And what I liked actually panned out. So it's like, but I'm also willing to, because of the pedigree, say, look, I might not be a fan of it, but fuck, maybe we just see how it plays out, unfortunately. So Kevin Lurker, you can add SpyTek to that. His draft class ain't looking too hot. I'll be honest. It ain't looking too hot. It's not good. Sismail, what's going on? Pete Carroll's fault. Pete Carroll's fault. I'm not bueno. Brandon Carroll's future head coach. That's comical, bueno. Yeah, just because of that, I'm gonna finish this. I'm cracking open that beer because I got about 15 more minutes with y'all. I think maybe a little bit longer. I always think I'm gonna jump on here for just a little bit. And all of a sudden, I'm 2 hours in, man. I appreciate y'all popping in with me. Sismo, Pete Carroll's fault. Bob, the only reason Gino and Stone Forsythe have a job in the NFL is because Pete. I think Gino would have had, like, he obviously still would have been Seattle. I think Gino still would have had a job, maybe as a backup somewhere, right? Or someone might have taken a swing at him if they are at the bottom of the barrel of a quarterback position. Us, I think Gino would have found maybe a job as a backup, just because of his contract, right? He still would have probably been with Seattle, but I 100% agree with you. The only reason why Stone Forsythe has a job in the NFL is because of Pete Carroll. I mean, there's a reason why he sat around in free agency up until a week and a half before the first game. There's a reason. It's because he's not good. And so Pete Carroll goes out and gets him and cuts a guy that could have been a little bit better. Again, not a lot better, but a little bit better. Like, that's where it just shocked me. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I can sit back and go, damn, Forsythe actually did okay. I'm not even if he just does okay, that's a lot better than I expected. Then I'd be like, all right, at least it's worked out for that game. We'll see how it plays out. But shit, man. This is why the fan base, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. Troy, I blame SpyTek for not drafting O-line earlier in the draft, and Pete needs to fire his son. Look, yeah, it's tough. Like there's a lot of situations where our offensive line does well, but the whole switching up and flopping a JPJ and all that shit, man, that just the handling of the offensive line is what pisses me off. Look, they did well last week. They did well. There's been numerous examples to where the offensive line has opened up running lanes for Genty. He didn't see it. There was multiple times where they pass blocked well. The reason why there's such a magnifying glass over the offensive line is because you have to take this into consideration. There's 5 offensive linemen. And remember, when the offensive line doesn't do well, sometimes it's not the offensive, or when the running game doesn't do well, it's not always the offensive line. Our tight ends don't block well either. Our 5 offensive linemen could have blocked extremely well, but then the tight end shits the bed, and that's what ruins the play. But everybody thinks, oh, damn, this offensive line sucks, right? And we break that down on game film on Wednesdays. Our tight ends do not block well. I'm just throwing that out there. Just remember that. Now, there's only the offensive line in all positions of football is under a magnifying glass every single play. If you have 65 snaps in a game, whether it's run or pass, the offensive line has a magnifying glass underneath it. So, for example, if there's 65 snaps, and let's say the right guard has 2 bad snaps, that means out of 65 total snaps, that affects every single play, they had 2 bad snaps, but we highlight it because it could have been a really bad play, right? They missed the block. Genty gets tackled in the backfield for a 3-yard loss, and it sticks in our mind. And all of us are like, damn it, I told you so. That guy sucks. But 98% of the time, they actually do well. But imagine if all 5 offensive linemen have 1 to 2 snaps like that. That means that's basically roughly 10 to 15 snaps a game that they don't do as a unit, that the offensive line is responsible for a bad play. That's not good, right? It's going to hurt your offensive output. It's going to hurt your just your offensive efficiency. But this is why you prioritize the offensive line. This is why you build in the trenches, is because no matter run or pass, the offensive line has a magnifying glass over it. And everybody talks about Jordan Meredith and the potentially the missed block or him getting driven back on that quarterback sneak. Bad play, without question. But that's the one play out of however many snaps that everybody highlights. Obviously, the one play where there's miscommunication, where it looks like he wants to pull on that 4th and 1, which I don't know why. That's a communication thing. But it's bad. So that's 2 snaps, right? And so it's just tough. It's really tough, and this is why I'm all about build the offensive line. Have a top 5 offensive line in the National Football League, and I promise you, your offense is going to do well. I promise you. Sorry, I went on a rant for just a second. So, Jason Downs, man, Tate Radjic sure would have been nice right now, taking 50 assists. Jack Beck was 58. There's a lot. I'm with you. J-Bob, appreciate the super chat. Man, you can't actually think Geno's motherfucking Smith and Pete motherfucking Carroll can save you. Do you know? I don't. I don't. But I also want to be completely wrong that I don't think they can. And Pete Carroll can finally prove to us, fan base, that he can turn this thing around. Like, that's the only thing I'm hoping for. I don't have confidence in it, but that's what I'm hoping for. And you can fault me for trying to think that, because trust me, there's been multiple coaching staffs that I have not thought that way at all. But damn it, it's about time us as a fan base can have a reason to start the process of trusting the process, even though it doesn't look too bright. But I appreciate the super chat, man. I appreciate you guys. If you can't, hit that like button, subscribe. Got over 130 in the building, man. I appreciate every single one of you. Just jumped on a Saturday. I go live on after the game, give you a post-game reaction with my guys, with Chris and Severe in the Raider War Room. We break down game film on Wednesday, so check in with us on that. But I also do giveaways on my channel. So when I hit 5,500 subscribers, I'm going to do my next giveaway, my 11th giveaway since starting this channel. Anything I make on here, I just give back to the nation, man. I appreciate everybody rocking with us, or me, and with us when we go live on after the game and on Wednesdays, man. So I appreciate you. Sis Mole, to be honest, Grant and Rogers aren't worse than Forsythe. No. I can't. Not a whole lot of people can argue because, man, Forsythe is bad. He's awful. So I just don't want to throw Grant in too early. But there's no way we can argue it. Jason Downs, fucking bring back Lane Kiffin. Man, the stories of Lane Kiffin and what he went through. You know, being I think the youngest head coach at the time, bro. Those stories are wild, man. Those are wild. Sis Mo, Gino needs LASIK. It's tough, man. Jason, per markdavis, as long as there's improvement, he will roll with the coach and GM. Well, let's see if there is improvement, right? Let's see if there is improvement. Kevin Lurker, man. Make a show showing the second round. Make a show showing the second round and the players we passed up on. So check this out. If you go back, we actually did a show after the draft, just kind of showing who we drafted and who was left on the board. And I'll tell you, a lot of people that we pointed out that we wanted after the fact, they've all kind of shown flashes or have panned out a little bit, you know? And so I don't say all, I take that back. Just a good amount of them. And shit, maybe we'll do that. Instead of a mock draft show, Kevin, maybe we'll do that. I'll talk with the guys, with Chris and Severe, and maybe we'll do that because at that point, man, here's the thing. If we do that, you better get your drinks ready. Severe don't drink shot to him, but Chris does. Maybe we need to get those drinks ready without question, because if we do it towards the tail end of the season, you kind of see how rookies have kind of panned out. And if our rookies have not done well whatsoever, obviously Genty had obviously a very good game last week, but if the mass majority don't work out, it might be a sloppy show because we might force ourselves to get a couple of drinks in. I'm not going to lie. Almond Glaze, trust the process. If the process is to suck after year after year after year, I know, man. I know, we've been coaching. They've maybe been coaching, but we've been watching this team for a long time. We have been. Long time. And I think, man, they just – I said on the live, I think, or maybe I jumped in with Jeff, man. Shout out to Jeff and all those guys. I jumped in on live with them. And It's like they tease us enough. Watch, we're going to make the playoffs in like 2 years. We're going to make the playoffs in 2 years, make a wild card. We'll lose in the wild card. And what they're going to do, they're going to blow up Markdavis and come in and go, hold my beer. I'm going to blow this shit up. Because that's what we've done. The last 2 times we made the playoffs is we kind of blow shit up. And now the Jack Del Rio situation, I heard that he just lost the locker room. That was tough. But ultimately, fired, not just you fired Jack Del Rio, but shit, you got rid of Reggie McKenzie, which, truth be told, Reggie McKenzie didn't do a bad job. He had to clear the books that first year. Our books were horrible. And then he arguably did bring on some of the best talent we've seen in a long time. Derek Carr, Khalil Mack, Amari Cooper. It wasn't a bad start to the process. But then you let Jack Del Rio go and you let Reggie McKenzie go because you rolled out the red carpet for John Gruden. And so it's like, damn, like, watch, we're going to make the playoffs in a year or two, and then we're just going to blow shit up and we're going to start back all over again. Watch. It's going to suck. So, Raider Pete, what's going on, man? Need help from Papa's Shango Voodoo. I'll be watching with one eye open at kickoff. Man, hey, are you at that? Okay, not the Papa's and beer thing. But, man, I appreciate you just tapping in, man. Bro, watch with one eye open so you're half disappointed with what the outcome might be against the Colts, man. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. All right, Jack and Coke done. Last beer, guys, then I'm going to get out of here. Let's have some fun, man. I appreciate you. Cheers to you guys. I appreciate you rocking with me on this Saturday. I know you got plenty of other places to be, but you're rocking what you got, man. I appreciate you without question. Isaiah, yeah, I think you mentioned he could see Charles Grant play tight end. Oh, okay. I mean, are you saying like bringing Charles Grant as an extra blocker? And if that's the case, man, it could be. Got it. As you said underneath. Yeah, as an extra lineman. Good way of putting it. Could happen. It could happen, and if you typically bring in an extra tackle, but goddamn, man, if Forsyth is in there and Charles Grant's in there, could you imagine that recipe for disaster if Charles Grant continues to play like he did in preseason and Stone Forsyth plays horribly and you put both of them on the field and run that way and they both get their ass handed to you? Like I might have to get Thursday off because I'm going to drink myself to death on Wednesday just watching that game film. Like, could you imagine that setup? Like, I would much rather spread everything out, maybe bring in Ian Thomas, maybe another tight end, and just kind of help block at the point of attack, maybe run some inside zone where you have the cutback lanes away from Forsyth. Like, could you imagine just the laughing stock we could be if you run power right at Forsyth and Charles Grant and they just shit the bed consistently and that was your strategy? Like, I'm sorry. I get it. Bring an extra tight end, unbalanced line, all that stuff. I get it. But holy shit, I'd be livid. J-Bob, as an Eagles fan, I can confirm that team success follows offensive line success. I'm with you, man. You guys, 100%. 100%, man. J-Bob, I appreciate you checking with us. That was, I wanted Mekhi Becton. I wanted us to go after the best offensive guard in free agency. But if we didn't, then prioritize it. At least, for, trade back in the first round, get a guard, or because we got Genty, and I'm on film saying it, I posted a video. If we got Genty, which I wasn't a fan of it, I wanted to prioritize the offensive line first. I also was a big T-Mac guy. But because we got Genty, then you better have gotten a guard in that second round. And what do? We traded back twice and then waited for the tail end of the third. It was stupid. It was stupid, to be honest. So I'm with you, man, but I appreciate you popping in with us. Troy Gill, wonder what Tom Brady thinks will fire Pete and Spytek if season goes bad. I wonder. Okay, let's talk about Tom Brady. Cheers to you, man. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Arnie, man, I see you in here too, man. I'll get down to you. Say what's up. Let's talk about Tom Brady for a second. Look, the concept of leaning on Tom Brady because of where he came from is not a bad idea. It's not. But let's be honest. What's Tom Brady done so far? And again, I'm not in the the meetings or whatever. Mark Davis and him have conversations, whatever it may be. But what has Tom Brady done thus far outside of possibly bringing a financial, increase to this franchise? He came over and he wanted Ben Johnson. We fired Tom Telesco. We let AP go on that presser the Monday after that last game, and he got bullets with the reporter saying, "Are you the next head? Like, are you still this head coach?" And AP said, "Until I hear anything, I'm still the head coach." You offed AP, which that's fine. You offed Tom Telesco. You brought in and you rolled out the red carpet for Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson gave you a sympathy interview. Didn't even come in person. It was only a virtual interview, which had to because of the playoffs or whatever. But he gave you a sympathy interview and then didn't even come for a second. And with just a virtual interview with the Bears, took the Bears organization job. And the Bears are a shit organization. You can arguably say the Bears are worse than us, because I'm a firm believer that some organizations just stay bad because they make bad decisions. The Browns are one of them. Bears are one of them. We're one of them. Can't argue that. So he rolled out the red carpet for Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was like, nah, sympathy interview, I'm out. No other head coach wanted to come here. All those rumors of him wanting to meet Matthew Stafford at that ski resort, having a meeting, wanting to get Matthew Stafford in. That's who Tom Brady wanted. And Matthew Stafford's like, no, I'm going to use you as leverage, as more money, and I'm going to re-sign with the Rams. And he did it. So he missed on Ben Johnson. He missed on Matthew Stafford. He waited for the 6th round to get a quarterback. If you think he's got this massive pulse on what we do as a quarterback, he waited for Cam Miller, which Cam Miller's not it. What's Tom Brady truly done? Alex Kappa? Is that what Tom Brady brought in? Because he played with Alex Kappa? I mean, my thing is, Tom Brady is the best quarterback to ever play this game. I'll give him that without question. Doesn't mean he knows how to run an organization. Doesn't mean that he understands how to evaluate talent. I'm not going to knock him and say he can't, but I'm not saying it doesn't mean that he can. So let's just be real about the effect of Tom Brady. What has he done? Because right now, and also let's talk about Pete Carroll. Do you really think Pete Carroll had a chance at any other head coaching job? I think that Pete Carroll was our last option. I think it was our last resort. Not only was it our last resort, but I think it was Pete Carroll's last resort. Look at all the other head coaching vacancies that were going into this season. And Pete Carroll, I believe he interviewed for the Bears job, and that's it. He didn't interview for anybody else. So that tells me that we were basically Pete Carroll's only option. So not only were we at the bottom of the barrel of any other head coaching position or any other head coaches, because all the available head coaches went elsewhere, Pete Carroll had no other option. So we got the bottom of the barrel head coaching option literally in this head coaching cycle. And it sucks to say, to be dead honest. But to me, I feel like it's the truth. Now, you could tell me I'm wrong. That's fine. Like, we can hash that out and talk about it. But that's the reality, in my opinion. Tom Brady's stamp on this is nothing so far. And Pete Carroll was the bottom of the barrel option because he had no other option. And we had no other option. Did we have any other option? That's my question. So, that was my rant. Again, my bad. What up, Barney? What's going on? You got a question. What's your confidence in Geno with this offensive line play? I don't have a lot of confidence. I hope that we rely a lot on the run. I hope that we stay balanced. I hope that we run, just very safe route concepts. I love the tempo throws. For example, you might see the outside receiver line up in tight a little bit and run a simple out route, just a quick tempo throw. That's what I kind of want to see. Take a couple deep shots downfield, just a couple, just to kind of keep the defense honest and push the safeties back so that you don't crowd the box too much. But I want to see a very tempo-based offense. And, man, Geno just has to protect the football. He's got to. If you minimize the turnovers, I think you always will have a chance. But a lot has to deal with the defense. And we might be able to touch on the defense in just a second. But my confidence level isn't a lot based off the 2 games that we just came off of. And 2, I just don't know if Chip Kelly is being creative enough to keep a defense off balance. So, man, you hitting with another question. Oh, Arnie Garza, you like the questions. I like it, though. With Bowers out, how does it affect our offensive output? It affects it a lot. When your number 1 target is out, I think it affects it a lot because at the end of the day, now more focus can go on Jacoby Myers. Not saying that he's going to be bad, but now it forces Geno to throw a lot of timing routes, be on time, and I just don't know if he has that chemistry yet. So it's gonna hinder us without question. But I think a lot's going to be predicated off of our run. We have to show very similar success that we showed last week in order for this offense to really do anything. So I don't expect a lot of points. Tomorrow. So at least from us. Arnie, after 4 games, what's your report card on the Raiders offense? Offense, defense, special teams, coaching, GM. Oh man, that's a loaded question, brother. It's a loaded question. Here's my thing. I'm gonna answer it as simple as possible. The draft has not looked very good. Yes, Genty had a breakout game, which was great, but everybody else not looking too hot. A lot of guys on IR, a lot of guys not even active. So you got to give the draft right now. If you want me to give you a draft grade right now, I'd probably give it maybe a C-, only because Genty had that last game. If Genty didn't have that last game, you're definitely in D- range. The coaching staff, you're 1-3 with not we don't really have much to hang our hat on right now. Yes, Genty had a good game, but it's just one good game. So you got to show some consistency in order to find confidence, right? Consistency grows confidence, and we don't have that right now. So overall, I'm giving this coaching staff a D. That's what I'm getting them right now. So in special teams, man, not great. Except, yeah, Jerry, appreciate it. J Bob, appreciate you, man. Raider fans are studs. God bless. I appreciate you. I appreciate you tapping in, even being an Eagles fan. Appreciate you rocking again. We'll see you. We'll see you in a few weeks. And I'll tell you right now, if we keep rolling the way we are, take it easy on us. Take it easy on us, man. Rick Rock, what's going on, man? I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Troy Gill. No pass rush on the other side of Mad Max. Are you saying we need pass rush on the other side of Mad Max? Yes, we do. I think Malcolm Kuntz did a good job of kind of waking up. We showed it a couple times last week when we broke down game film. I do think Malcolm Kuntz, he's waking up a little bit. He had a damn good bull rush. He also had a damn good hand swipe off the edge, kind of get pressure on the quarterback. Overran it a little bit, but you could see the athleticism starting to come out. He had a hell of a play, kind of getting an inside swim move, contained leverage off of the edge, forced the running back inside, made the tackle. So I think that Malcolm Kuntz is waking up. And coming off of that injury he had last year, it was going to take him a little bit. So I hope he just continues to grow on it and continues to progress. So let's hope. I'm with you. Let's hope it continues without question. What up, Raider Paul? What's happening, man? Raider Paul, I think you're coming to the Cowboys game. Hey, I'm going to be at every tailgate, so hit me up. If anybody rocks out here at the games, I go to the tailgate. There is a bar that I go to right before the tailgate, and then I walk over. If you ever go to the tailgate, J-Lot, there's a guy in the main row in J-Lot right in the middle that basically has a bar set up, and he just does drinks for everybody, and all he asks is for donations. And so I'll go over there and get a few beers, and I'll give him a couple 20s. You know what I'm saying? I'll give him a couple $20 bills and get 2 or 3 beers and just show my support. So if you are ever coming to the game, go check out my guy, J-Lot, right in that first row. Again, open bar. He just asked for donations, bro, and he serves it up right. So go hit him up without question, man. He's a good guy, always there during the home games. But if you guys do go to a home game, hit me up on IG, _ 805 Raider. Send me a message. I go to every single tailgate and we'll chop it up. Sometimes I try to make it down to the MGM Sportsbook and place a couple of bets beforehand. So, what up, Nav, man? What's happening? Just popping in for, I wanted to say a quick live, but I've been on for 2.5 hours. Jesus Christ, man. But with over 130 in the building, man, I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Big Little Bosco, man, I appreciate the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. Appreciate you always rocking with us on the lives as well in the Raider War Room, man. Your question, do you think we can use Genty in slot and Besh as a hybrid tight end receiver role in a spread, high-tempo concept? Both have experience in college, high school. I know it's NFL, but quick pass attacks hashes might catch defense off guard. Here's the thing, is with Genty, I'd love to see about 95% of the Genty work in the backfield. Could you get him, like motion him out, hit him with a quick screen, stuff like that, just to kind of keep things off balance? 100%. I want to see Genty getting more involved in the pass game coming out of the backfield, because I think that's just another aspect that the defenses have to focus on, that the defenses have to prepare for, right? So you're not always just seeing him in the backfield. He gets the handoff. With Jack Besh, I'd like to see Jack Besh get in the more I'd like to see Jack Besh be utilized more in the pick and the rub routes. Because I question whether or not Jack Besh can actually be a good get good separation in the National Football League. That was one of my biggest knocks on him coming out of TCU, is that can he gain separation in the National Football League? And so I'd love to see us utilize Jack Besh more in pick and rub routes, where we're helping him with the separation, because I think that's going to allow him to get more confidence, right? But I also think that he's a sure-handed catcher, right? We all know what he did in college. I believe he had one drop pass his senior year, I believe. And so he's a sure-handed guy. So if he's struggling to get separation, then utilize him in rub routes and pick routes. Help him out with that separation, because if you can get him the ball, he's going to catch it. And he's a tough guy after the catch, right? He's a former tight end. He's going to be able to kind of take some punishment and run through some arm tackles. And so do things to get him the ball in his hands. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of just running standard pass routes with him. And I don't think that's his game. Not at this level. Right? You see a lot of flood concepts where you're basically bringing him across the field to kind of get open on the other side. Well, that's good if you're going against a zone concept, and everybody else does their job, and he finds a hole he finds the soft parts in the zone, or you can kind of scheme him open when he goes against zone concepts, but help him out. He's your second overall pick. Get the ball in his hands. So for me, I'd love to see more pick routes, rub routes with him. Get the ball in his hands and let him do some work, because he is a tough guy with the ball in his hands, and he's going to break some tackles. Now with the tight ends out, I mentioned it before. With the tight ends out, I actually would like to see Jack Besh play more of that offset tight end look, right? That H-back set where you're lined up outside the tackles, or maybe if you're in a 12 personnel where you have two tight ends, maybe he's that second tight end outside, and maybe run him out of the backfield out that way. So, it remains to be seen just how much they're going to use Besh and how they're going to use him, but you got to get more creative. He's your second overall pick. A second round pick. If what you're doing today, and here's the thing, when we've seen him on the field, I want to say out of the 5 snaps he got last week, he actually was motioned in the backfield to block on 2 of them. So a guy that has sure hands, a guy that you can be somewhat creative and kind of get him involved in that passing game, and he's a second round pick. Out of the 5 snaps, he's blocking out of the backfield. Like that just doesn't make any sense to me. And so, I'd love to see him line up more inside a little bit because of our two tight ends being out. line him up inside, and you can use him and be creative. Yes, he could still kind of block a little bit on run plays, and that's fine. But, God, get him more involved in that pass game. Be more creative. Get him some targets. I'd like, and as much as a lot of people say, do you want to see him get more targets? I'd like to see him get more targets, but you only get more targets if you warrant the targets, if you are getting the separation, if the quarterback sees you and you're open. And so I think that's where he's lacking, is just being able to get that separation. But scheme him open. Scheme him open, help him out if he's struggling. Try to get his confidence up. I'd like to see him probably get, at least 3 catches tomorrow, but I'm going to be curious to see just kind of how they get him those catches. Sorry about that, man. I rant, but at the same time, man, I appreciate you throwing that super chat out without question. Hopefully that answers your question, or let me know if you agree or disagree. But at the same time, at the end you say you reference the hashes, and yes, with the NFL having closer hashes, you have more room to the sideline based on where the offense starts with the ball, right? And so running more mesh concepts can help out, but also at the same time, it helps out creating those natural picks, creating those natural rub routes, right? And so you can scheme up some of those crossers, and at the same time have more distance to the sideline to allow your receivers to get open. That's why I'd love to see more. I want to see more crossing routes and mesh concepts with Trey Tucker. Utilize his speed, utilize his quickness to get from point A to point B and get his ass across the field. Now he gains that separation, put the ball in his hands, turn the corner with room, and now he's ripping off a 30-plus yarder. So I definitely want to see more crossers, more mesh concepts. And if you do that, yeah, get Jack Besh involved, because you create those natural picks. So Isaiah, you're saying maybe like a wheel route or something. Now, if you think about a wheel route, maybe with Genty and stuff, or even with Jack Besh, sometimes with that wheel route, you want to get a guy that kind of gets out there in speed. Genty doesn't really have the speed to kind of get that sideline. Neither does Jack Besh. You want to see kind of more wheel routes, maybe with Tucker a little bit, or if you can get the mismatch, right? If you can get the mismatch, and now that I think about it, let me take that back. If you can get Genty matched up with the linebacker, then you have the mismatch for speed. So maybe you can make that work, right? If you can kind of get Genty out there, motion them out, and now you got a trips concept, 3 receivers to one side, you get a linebacker, and you get that mismatch, and you can get Genty up the sideline. Okay, that's right, 100%. I think that could work, because you create the mismatch, right? Genty can have that speed to kind of get that advantage and that spacing off of that linebacker. That's where I think it could work. So I'm with you on that. Berendo, you're saying put Besh at tight end. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it due to the injuries. I won't be surprised. Bosker, you're saying Besh is a good blocker too. He is, but here's the thing. I want to see how well he can block in the National Football League, right? There's a couple times where he blocked coming from, they motioned him to the backfield. 1, he didn't get anybody because there was really nobody there. But 2, there's another one where, if I remember correctly, he kind of got beat up, but again, it might be just the way they used him, right? He had to take on a linebacker, and he didn't win that matchup. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they use him with the lack of tight ends that we have, Brock Bowers, Michael Mara. It's going to be really difficult. Or not difficult. It's going to be interesting to see just kind of how we use him moving forward. So, Brendo, we should use Besh blocking on the Bears blocked field goal on that right edge. Yeah. We just got outcoached. I'm not sure why you have an interior defensive lineman as that wing. Now, look, I know how you block a field goal block. I know how you do it. I know how you line up. But the question mark was, why are you putting someone that's that doesn't block? Why are you not putting at least an offensive lineman or a tight end out there to kind of help off that edge? Why are you putting an interior defensive tackle on the edge? That boggled my mind. That really didn't make sense. So yeah, put anybody out there except for Jonah Laulu. And I don't think it's his fault. They schemed that very well. We kind of broke it down when we went over the game film on Wednesday, and they schemed it well. Not only did they had the advantage because of the snap, and we showed it. There is a tell, but they also schemed it very well, because here's the thing: They overloaded one side because where the ball was placed was on the left hash, and they overloaded our right side, which means the angle of the kick had to go right. And so that just gives the defense just the slightest advantage. The amount of times that you see guys that block a punt or block a field goal, they barely get a fingertip on it, right? So it's a game of inches. And so they brought 3 guys at Jonah Laulu, which you always have to block your inside shoulder in field goal block. And that's what he did. He kept his left foot anchored, and he tried to reach to get to that outside guy. But they brought 2 guys to his outside, one guy on his outside shoulder, and the guy that actually ultimately blocked it came outside of him. And he was fast. So not only did they have the advantage because of the tell of the snap, but 2, they had the angle of the kick where Carlson had to angle that kick to the right. So that gave him just a little bit extra, couple extra inches of play of an advantage, and they just schemed it right. And so, special teams, you got to do, obviously you got to do better. But again, I don't know why you have Jonah Laulu on the as the wing. Why not a bigger tight end with a larger wingspan to kind of help out, or an offensive tackle? I honestly, I don't have, I don't know why. So. Guys, man, I thought I was going to pop on here for just a second, but, I've been on here for 2.5 hours, man. I appreciate everybody that rocked with me. I want to jump on here. Typically, I go post game after the game, kind of give you my take on it with my guys in the Raider War Room, and we break down film on Wednesday, man. I appreciate everybody that rocked with me today. I shared my first drink, the Jack and Coke, with you guys, and cracked open another beer. My wife took my kids over to a birthday party they got invited to. I usually rock and chop it up with the parents, but this one, they're going to some pottery thing. And I was like, nah, I ain't rolling this time. So I said, you know what? Got the house to myself. Let me jump on here and do a live, chop it up before the game. I was going to do a video regarding Stone Forsythe replacing Colton Miller. But instead, I was like, let's chop it up with the nation and have a good time, man. I do a sub-only chat just to show my appreciation to all the subscribers. But I also appreciate you guys that have become members of the channel. I'm going to do a members-only live. I'm going to do some member-only giveaways. We're also going to break down game film. We're going to continue to do it, but YouTube doesn't like that we're doing it, so they keep demonetizing videos. So, but look, I want to keep doing it because that's why that's my comfort zone, is breaking down game film. So I definitely appreciate you guys that rock with me and rock out with us. But I appreciate the members. I appreciate the subscribers. I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me. So look, I'm going to get out of here. At one point, had over 140 in the chat. If you can, double tap that screen, hit that like button, hit that sub button if you want to be included. But again, I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate all the members. Enjoy the game. Make sure you rock out with us tomorrow after the game. We'll go live around 6:30. Around 6:30 West Coast time, 9:30 East Coast time. And we just have a little bit of fun. And, man, we'll just give you kind of what we feel and how we'll break down this game film. Let's hope you pull out a win, because I do think at the end of the day, this is a must win. If you start 1-4 going against a tough defense because of the Titans, and then you got the Chiefs, man, it's going to be tough. But for the sake of all of us, I hope you pull out a win, man. Troy Gill, appreciate you. Berendo, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate everybody that has rocked out this entire live. Have a great evening. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the game, guys. And, man, shit, I'm going to get out of here. One last drink for all y'all as I set up what I need. I think I got it. And I think I got it, man. Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your night. Enjoy the game. We'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here.